a standard for this game. They've got a rivalry with these two. They've played a lot against each other.
And there's a bit happening down there in the square too. Scotty Cummings and Neats.
Geez, they've got a history, these two teams, haven't they?
Yeah, absolutely. So we're ready to go at Subiaco, and they're still brawling in the square. Rapunda looks like he's starting in the middle, maybe alongside Uze. McDonald trying to force his way through. Cameron Bruce underneath it, tough for him there, Chambers. And when it all sorts itself out, it's Nathan Brown with the first meaningful possession. White, as you touched on, what a battle that'll be today against Gardner. Morrison pushing back, looks like he's alongside Woden. Beautifully handled by Green. Farmer with Rapunda next to him. Wobbly kick, won't make the distance, and that'll give a chance for Williams to get back, and he concedes the behind, taking no chances in the early stages.
Yeah, it looks like Jeff Farmer's actually started in the centre, and we thought probably David Wirapunda would have picked him up had he been playing in the forward pocket, but they've both started in the centre of the ground, and I would say that Wirapunda is going to run with Farmer all day.
McIntosh playing forward is an interesting move, isn't it?
They've done it in the past, Hutto. Every now and then they need to kick goals, so not a bad move by Ken Judge, really. Let's see if they can manufacture a few of them today.
It's meant that Neats is playing in defence, of course, as the Eagles work the ball with Fletcher now off half-back. Some good-looking kick there with Embley running into the space to take the mark, so maybe the Eagles can work it through the middle. Rapunda was a short option, goes longer. Matera comes out and accepts it. Here's Rapunda, very casual kick, didn't quite get to the target, or Simmons made a meal of it. Well tackled by Carroll, but Phoebe also had to be hurried with a handball straight through the legs. Tough stuff by Embley. Nicholson. So there's a fair bit of fumbling going on at this early stage. Brown, McDonald, Ragoni. That was a little bit of a dangerous floating handball. Brown handled it well. Woden might have to backtrack here. Jeff White to help out. Can kick for Ward. Will go longer for Swartz, which is what he does. Swartz with the mark. Ragoni with the task on that man, Cousins. He was a little unfortunate there, Ragoni, because there's a terrible kick coming into attack. Carroll's going to be under the pump here. Now he's got time, and he can try and use the ball well. It opens up at centre-half for a dreadful kick. Wheatley had teammates running past. Embley was the intended target. Now they can work it through the middle. This is Phoebe, low kick. Not bad for Robertson. He's going to need some support because there was Eagles everywhere. He's going to get a free. It's a bit of a soft one, but perhaps it was there. And he's got a loose man. And how did Jeff Farmer get on his own like that? Unbelievable. And he drives it through for the opening goal of the Demons.
Unbelievable that Jeff Farmer, probably certainly one of the most damaging forwards out there, can find so much space right in the heart of his offensive territory. Well, you can actually look back, trace it back to a very poor option by Trent Carroll. I mean, you had Wirapunda up here on the 50-metre line, 100% clear, and did not spot him at all. And then they get hurt on the rebound. Gee, just can't believe that Farmer was so loose this early in the game.
So both Farmer and Wirapunda starting on the ball,
and Hutto's starting opposite sides of each other. It's an interesting duel, that one, isn't it?
Probably explains how he got loose, and he got loose again out of the middle. So electrifying start from Farmer. That kick not so good. Jakovic to relieve.
It's World Championship Wrestling in the forward line though. Cummings and Neats going mad, and now the emergency umpire out there.
So the Eagles can have a meaningful attack here unless... Well, they won't until they can learn how to kick the ball. That was a shocker from Gardner. Phoebe, and here's Farmer loose again. This time he doesn't back himself. Well, he does back himself. Escapes and kicks his second goal. What a start for the Demons by Jeff Farmer.
Well, Hutto, you know, one of the things about David Wirapunda, as good of a player that he actually is, one of his big downfalls is that he fails to man up. He fails to close in on a play when he's been given a job. Now, he's playing on a guy called Jeff Farmer, who's absolutely a magical player, and he's giving him way too much room.
You talk about closing players down. Wirapunda also early in the game is very susceptible to Scotty Cummings. Looks like he's coming off with a blood rule there, but Wirapunda, he must learn early in the game to play tight.
The first victim of World Championship Wrestling, Subiaco style, is Scotty Cummings, who comes off with a blood rule.
There's plenty going on down here. Cummings ambles off, Miranda's gone on, and the game's been held up.
This is a replay of what led to the blood rule, or part of what did. So now We're just about ready to restart as Scotty Cummins gets some attention. Miranda going forward, so I wonder if Melbourne will adjust their matchups. Neat's playing on him at this stage. Great start by the Demons. Here's Warapunda. Perhaps he can get one back. Just treading water till he had an option. Looks like Philip Mattia is the intended target. And he's taken it pretty well, but again, he didn't have much to give it to. Nicholson, gang tackle. Crowd wanting a free, they won't get it. So a very interesting start here at Subiaco. Fine conditions. In fact, quite warm, really. Top of 19 expected. McIntosh, as we said, starting forward alongside Nicholson, Embley. McIntosh, second chance. Rapunda back to give some support down there. Jones, oh, that's a courageous mark by Jeff White.
Great contest there by Jeff White. Put his body on the line and came up with the goods.
Should be much better for the week off. He's had injury problems all year, Jeff White, with his shin and his knee. And other problems. Mark Payne, a free kick, needs to take it. Miranda in front. Touched off the boot, I think. No?
I thought the umpire was calling it play on.
He had called play on,
yeah.
so a bit of confusion in the communication stakes between the two umpires. Fletcher, good kick out wide, but it is very wide for McIntosh to shoot a goal from.
He is a very good user of the ball, Fletcher.
Yeah.
He's been out of touch recently, but when he gets the ball forward of the centre, you just know he's going to hit someone lace out. He's such a good kick.
Well, he's on the opposite foot here, Ashley McIntosh. He's a left foot kick, but he doesn't mind the odd shot at goal. He's in the past, when he has gone forward, he's been very productive. The Eagles, they have to score early.
So important kick for McIntosh. Meantime, at the other end of the ground, the only two men are Morrison and Farmer. So Farmer might have gone forward, but all attention on Ashley McIntosh. Not a great kick. Schwartz lets it go, and good work again by White. Just settling himself down. Brown, Schwartz pushed back as part of the defensive flood. It wasn't a great kick really, and the Eagles able to raffle it between them. Taylor takes the mark. And got a few options on it. Centre half forward. Well delivered. Quick hands from Chambers, wheeling back. Cousins under pressure into the square. It wasn't a great kick. In fact, it was a pretty ordinary decision in the end. Needs able to relieve and go long for Rigoni. It takes the mark.
They've wasted their opportunities when they've gone forward, the West Coast Eagles, early in this game.
Bruce was perhaps not quite approaching the footy as he would have liked there. The ball over the line out of bounds.
One thing with Benny Cousins, he has a huge appetite for the football, and that's just one of those instances where I don't think he actually should have called for the ball. He should have actually just let the player go back and take a shot from 50. His appetite sometimes causes him to call for the ball when he doesn't need it.
Woden improvising as a ruckman. Taylor able to take it away, and the Eagles can set up through Jakovic into space with McIntosh. Gurgic couldn't get the spoil on, no free kick. Tough loose ball, 30 metres out from goal. And now it's the Demons through Phoebe. That's not a great kick. Doubling back, good work from Uze. Rowan Jones with a job on him, which I guess is something you could have expected today. Morrison doubling back with Farmer. Outnumbered that time, Farmer. Taylor helping out. Farmer still won the footy. Well, he's kicked 2 goals. Will he pump up another one and try and make it 3? He deceived them very well. Lovely delivery for Green.
And Morrison down behind playing that contest. Looks like he's got it looked like a knee. Might get Barrow to check on that, but didn't look too flash.
It's just such a typical start for the West Coast Eagles, isn't it? Unfortunately.
I mean, Jeff Farmer is just in sensational form. They have to close him down. He's had 5 kicks. He's had 2 marks. He's already kicked 2 goals. And that was just good play and real good teamwork play too there by Farmer. You know, he did have the opportunity to actually have a kick on goal, but he did the team thing. He centred the ball. And now we've got Green shooting on goal.
Ooh. Looks like he tweaked his knee, didn't he?
Looked like it just gave way, didn't it?
That's the exact spot where Michael Pryor did his knee a couple of months ago.
Oh, this West Coast injury list just continues to grow. It's unbelievable, isn't it?
Full credit to Jeff Farmer, though. I mean, look, he's been through 2 opponents already, really. He's stitched up Wirrapunda in the first 2 or 3 minutes. And he turned Morrison inside out there. Just looked like the knee just basically faulted on him.
Oh. You know, it doesn't look much, but something like that can can be far more damaging. And there it is there.
It's actually caved in on the medial side there. Oh,
And the fact that he's coming off on a stretcher is not a good sign, but we won't think the worst just yet.
It is incredible though, Manny, isn't it? This would be what, the 5th or 6th knee injury they've had?
Well, it'll be the 4th this year. You've had Reid, Sirikowski, and of course Pryor. And if this is the 4th one, Barrow, I mean, you know, they just keep falling down, don't they?
They've had Banfield in a similar position too.
Yep.
Hutto, you look at an injury like that, and I mean, basically it was just in the field of play. There was nothing untoward about it. But what can actually happen with a knee injury? It can accumulate over sort of 4 or 5 different knocks on it throughout a year, and all of a sudden it can be so close to going that bang, just something like that can happen. I mean, that looked like nothing.
Well, such a shame. It must be deflating for his teammates. Maybe it can inspire them, given that the score at the moment, it's only early, but Melbourne have made such a great start with 2 goals, and looks like a third about to come up. Ball couldn't be in any better hands for Melbourne than Brad Green.
It's a beautiful shot on goal, isn't he,
Yeah.
Green? He's, you know, you wouldn't think that he's going to miss from such an easy set shot. And you can just see the Eagles players there looking over at their teammate Chad Morrison.
It's taken a long time, but that's not to be critical in any way, shape or form.
No, I mean, that's the real worry. I mean, normally, you know, they'd be off the ground a little bit quicker than they are, and it is taking some time. They've actually strapped him in, so...
Given Melbourne's start, I think they should take a little bit more time.
How familiar is this scene at Subi, though? It's just incredible.
Well, hopefully we'll get an update reasonably quick so we can pass it on and just find out how Chad Morrison is, Barrow, for his family back in Victoria. I know that his parents would be watching the game, and we do wish that it's not as severe as a cruciate ligament.
So Brad Green, he had plenty of time to think about this kick. His form impeccable in front of goal. 21 goals, 9 for the year. And he's done enough to put it through.
Gee, Scotty,
wasn't his best kick, I don't think.
He squeezed it in, just squeezed it in there.
It's a real worry, isn't it? Because the West Coast Eagles, if they had any chance, they really did need to start off well, because their confidence is down a fair amount, and they don't need this kind of a start, because it is going to be hard to, I suppose, get them up and get them into a winning situation.
Yeah, you need to get your teeth into a game early to get your confidence, and they've had Farmer basically tear them apart, and now Morrison going off. So this is going to test their character, and someone needs to stand up.
So a miserable start for West Coast, but a great start by the Demons. They've kicked 3-1. West Coast yet to trouble the scorers. Not to say they haven't had an attack though, so they've had some chances. Ward, some shoveling work. Rizzo wanting a free. Bruce involved as well. Brown, and now the ball out of bounds.
Good pressure by Taylor there, just in the centre square. He came off the line, laid the first tackle, then chased the ball out, laid the next one. I mean, he's a good attribute for West Coast this year. Pretty gritty in the contests.
Simmons doing the ruck work, and again Uze getting Melbourne moving as he's done so often this year. The layoff from Swartz just missing the target. Jakovic had a couple to go for. Kerr, who's now on the ground, started on the bench, able to use the run of Jakovic. You better watch out. Had to kick it quickly, and unfortunately it wasn't all that accurate, although it might get Matera. Balanced himself nicely, and Embley is just about within range. He's told by his teammates to go back and have a shot.
Well, that was a bit better play by the Eagles, and good play by Jakovic to get some run off the half-back line. He is a player that does receive a lot of the ball. 40% of his possessions, Scotty, comes in receiving the ball, Glenn Jakovic, so he does get a lot of the ball that way. And I mentioned in the pre-game talk about Andrew Embley, I'm a big rap for this player. He's a good kick, and he should be able to slot this one through.
So Embley for the Eagles' first score at the very least, and it looks good. There was certainly hands on it, but I think it was through first. Yes, it was.
Well, you talk about a confidence booster. What they've gone through here in the first 10, 15 minutes is certainly caused them to be a little, certainly be soul-searching anyway, but that's a good reply by West Coast. They needed to get on the board. Led by Jakovic at the back here. It was quite a long kick. It had some carry on it. Actually carried the Melbourne defender. Good play by Phil Matera just to ride the tackle, and a good kick. A little bit of poise. Spotted up Embley, who was good enough to finish. It really was a terrific kick from Embley. From just outside 50.
So that'll make them feel a little better. The Eagles with their first goal on the board. Gardner got a good tap. McDonald coming in off the wing, gathering it pretty well, but not too effectual about that. And another bounce. Hasn't been too many little tactics. We saw tactics galore yesterday in the match at Optus Oval, but we've got some fairly simple matchups, it seems, in the middle. They'll seem to be quite happy with. Rigoni running on Cousins and Jones running on Uze. The two major ones. Rupunda's gone back onto Farmer. Back to the left of screen. Chambers gets it away. Taylor. McIntosh led into the pocket. He goes longer. Cummings coming out. Needs to spoil. No hanging on, free kick. And that, a chance to pounce. And that's what he does best, Matera. Kicks the second.
That was good, wasn't it, Scotty, by Phil Matera then? I didn't think he was going to get back onto it in time. I thought the pressure from the Melbourne defenders would have been too much, but that is a really uplifting goal for the team. And the quicker they move that ball into the forward line, the West Coast Eagles, the better chance they do have of scoring. Taylor, who's been a very good player this year for the West Coast Eagles, been one of their better recruits along with Colica, I reckon. And, you know, situation here, this is where, as you said, Hunter, this is where he's very good around the ground. Just a sensational goal.
Could be a battle of the small forwards here today. Farmer at one end, Matera at the other.
Yes, they've both made bright starts. 19 plays 12. Simmons in the hands of Woden. Umpire lets it go, as is they want these days. Eventually a bounce called. It is, with McIntosh going into attack, it has forced Melbourne's hand, hasn't it, to put Neitz back into defence. So it's a smaller forward line for Melbourne.
Yeah, good move to have McIntosh down there, given that he's coming off certainly some interrupted game time. Doesn't put as much pressure on him. He can sort of play his own game. I think it's a great move by Ken Judge.
Well, I guess conversely, if Neitz went forward, maybe McIntosh would have to go with him. So we'll wait and see. Ward giving them a chance. The back green trying to run onto it. And eventually the ball worked over the line and out of bounds. Colica.
Been sensational this year, Michael Colica. He's been right up there with Michael Gardner and Ben Cousins in terms of putting in, week out. He's always given the most dangerous opposition forward, and he's done a fantastic job.
Jakovic from behind. Swartz is pretty effective normally as a forward ruckman. Rapunda escaping. Wooden with time on his side here. As he looks up, he's got Kerr in short, but goes instead by hand. This is Jakovic now. Can work it back. Williams measuring the kickoff, looking for Fletcher. Woden to spoil, but he couldn't get there. So Fletcher with the mark. Chambers leads at half forward. That's where the kick's going. One-on-one against Phoebe. It dropped a bit short and was well read by Chambers. Seems to have made a pretty good start. He's gradually finding his feet at the top level. A low kick for the lead, and therefore it didn't get through to Cummings. Now a chance though for Cousins. He was going this way and that. Gardner. There's a free kick here, and it's coming back, I think, to the Eagles. No advantage paid. It's gone through for a goal, but he's not going to allow the advantage.
Ben Cousins just explaining to the umpire that he would like that to be called a goal there. Richard Taylor also involved in the discussion with the umpy.
Well, clearly the umpire didn't think at the time that it was an advantage, even though it was played on and they kicked the goal. It is a grey area, isn't it, of the game, the whole advantage situation. That's the high contact. Definitely got him too high. It wasn't a huge tackle, but the hand was on the shoulder. Yeah, but at that stage, there's no reason why he couldn't have played advantage, really. Cousins wanted to get a bit closer to goal. He wanted to get some momentum on the kick, and he did that, and it's the same result. Terrific block on the mark there. I mean, that's a set. But look at him
absolutely going up to Gardner now at the moment, just saying what a terrific block that was on the mark. I mean, enable Cousins just to run that extra 5 metres in, and that is the 1%er. That is a little teamwork thing that can actually lift a side.
Well, the best of mates off the field, and also you can see it from on the field, Scotty, because as you said, that was fantastic work from Gardner. We'll see it here again. Just gave him the opportunity to get in an extra 2 metres and resulted in that goal.
So they're basically back on level terms now, the West Coast, after Melbourne shot away with the opening 3 goals. Important centre bounce. It was a little bit skew-whiffed, well tapped down, well controlled by the Eagles out of the middle. Kerr, as a result of the Cousins and Gardner combination. Look at that work from Brown. Terrific stuff. Out wide, Williams to try and apply the pressure on Robertson. Haven't seen much of him so far, Robertson. And the ball over the line and out of bounds. So Williams has made a pretty good start for the Eagles.
But he's one player, Robertson, that can just bob up and kick 2 or 3 goals in the space of 4 or 5 minutes. He's just going to have to stay with him all day. He is a class act, is Robertson.
Did it one night, I think a few years ago here, didn't he, in the West, when Melbourne were down on their superstars and helped to lead them home for victory. Woden getting amongst it. Simmons is behind Gardner and couldn't make he did make an effective spoil. Robertson trying to go off the ground, perhaps picking it up might have been a better option. Williams close to the line, Green able to keep it in and keep the ball alive. Rapunda, likewise for the Eagles, just couldn't pinpoint Kerr. Hemmed in against the boundary by Ward. He backed himself and one out. Phoebe gave a little shove to Chambers. Chambers persists. The Demons, well, no, maybe they can't get it away. McDonald can do that now. Pumping handball from Wheatley through centre half back. Bruce playing further up the ground today. Simmons accepting the lead. Again, there was a good open forward line. Green got rid of his man in Colliker. Didn't have a shot. Set it up for Robertson. Rapunda to spoil. Robertson. Farmer was lurking. And Rapunda would have been nervous as he went up to spoil. Green went off the ground. What a cross! Sensational work by Green. We know he was a soccer player, and there's Robertson. Well, he was a fine cricketer and a soccer player as a youngster, Green, and that is a sensational cross. And I just thought for a moment Robertson might have got carried away and headed the ball home.
It was set up perfectly for him, wasn't it? Quick thinking by Green just to get it on the boot there. Actually lost his opponent. This one just come up here. Lost his opponent, actually fell behind him. Slotted it into the spot. And there it is. Beautiful soccer cross on the money.
I said a moment ago, Robinson is the type of player that can just bob up and, you know, there he is. The space of a minute later and he's got a goal on the board, so...
Yes, beautifully called, mate.
Well done, matey.
Glad you made sure we noticed it. Rigoni out of the middle. Swartz couldn't handle it. Interesting battle, that one, isn't it, between 2 very big men with, well, pretty wide turning circles, Swartz and Djakovic.
Wide load, I reckon, on both of those two, but they're just going to batter at each other all day, I think, go head to head.
Both the midfields are pretty even at the moment, getting a fair bit of the ball. The Eagles have had 34 possessions and Melbourne have had 33 in terms of their midfielders.
So Djakovic doing some ruck work, which he can do pretty effectively around the ground. Bruce controlling it well. White looked to lay it off. Find a man initially, so he's going wider with this little short kick. Phoebe, maybe the sun got in the eyes for a moment. Kicks for Uze, who loves to bob up around about that area, but this time he can't do anything effective. And the Eagles' defence controlling it pretty well. Still the pressure is on though. Now they can get away. Kerr off half back. Good kick for Gardner in space. He can run. Colliker had run for him, but he did the big turn back. He knew he had Richard Taylor. He's still too far out to score, you would think. Cummings waits before he leads. Matera goes to his left. Cummings comes now down the middle. The opportunity was there, and he found it. Well done, Scotty Cummings, and well done, Richard Taylor.
Well, Scotty, that's what they've got to do with Scotty Cummings. They've got to get him in a mark and kick situation because he doesn't get a lot of the ball in general play as sort of such. This is where he can be most effective. You get the ball to him on a mark and he can have a shot on goal. He's going to be damaging to you.
What they actually allowed him, though, was a forward line structure that gave him the room to actually be a more traditional leading full forward. He just had the space in front. He had plenty of movement. And you just got to back him from these situations. He's a terrific set shot.
So Scotty Cummings, it's away a little to the right, but it might have just, yes it has, it's just got in.
Thought he was going to make a liar of me there, but he just is a very good set shot. Does everything technically correct, runs straight at the goal, squares his shoulders to the goals. Just a very good kick. But just looking back, Gardner was the one. I mean, he's a ruckman who runs forward and actually gets in front of the play. He creates that opportunity, and that's where he's going to put pressure on Jeff White here today. Good patience shown there. Scotty just presenting pretty straightforward stuff for a full forward.
So it's quite a battle so far. Melbourne have been in front right from the start. Their lead reduced to 1. Great tap from White. Gave Farmer the chance. He just couldn't capitalise on it. Could have been some high contact there. A very late call, but it's okay for the Eagles. Cousins and Gardner, their 2 stars involved. McIntosh presenting, which is what he'll do all day. Nicholson, his opponent. Melbourne defence without a couple of their, or 3 of their better players in Wheel and Walsh and Ingerson today. An up and under kick from McIntosh, but 4 to beat here. Cummings got buffeted out in amongst that. McDonald claimed the mark and he got some high contact.
We can see what the Melbourne defenders are trying to do. They're making sure they get as many players around as Scotty Cummings as possible. Like you're saying, Scotty, they've got to get Cummings out in the open and giving him opportunity. But if they just bomb it in like that, the Melbourne defenders are going to rush down and they're just going to crowd up Cummings' area, and they'll stop him from taking those marks.
Well, McDonald goes back, and it's a funny-looking kick, looking for Robertson. Woden ducked. It was well wrapped up. And it's a bounce. Interesting there, that kick from McDonald. This day and age, you don't often see that, do you? Just break back and...
Yeah, it was actually touched off the boot, I think, Hutto, which put the odd spin on the ball as it was coming out.
We haven't seen a lot of flooding so far in this match. Just a couple of times when the Eagles have been deep in attack. Melbourne have got numbers back. So Melbourne leading by a point, but the Eagles very competitive. Taylor. A bit of confusion there in the communication. Simmons out of bounds. So the Eagles have locked it in their forward line. They've got a scoring opportunity here and a chance to go in front for the first time in the game. And the crowd haven't seen too much of that of late when the Eagles have been playing. They were competitive last week, though, weren't they, in the first quarter against Collingwood, then it all fell away. Nicholson, a little bit adventurous with the handball. Wheatley, Gurgic, always adventurous. Brown will be hoping the boundary line and will find the ball. And it just doesn't quite get there, or does it? No, it doesn't. So the Eagles can again set up for an attack, but that's not a good kick. Swartz getting back, and now he can turn defence into attack. He goes sideways, right out towards the... Now, there's an Eagles player, Embley, was coming off the ground. Swartz mustn't have noticed him. In the end, he's given him a pretty easy run at it. Gardner presented, great spoil from Simmons. Now a tough contest on the wing. Well done by Wheatley to knock it forward. Phoebe goes to ground. This is Kerr. He can blast away to the lead from Cummings. He's got Chambers in front of him. Neat's getting back. The desperation stakes just starting to go on the out. And the ball out of bounds.
Andrew Embley just coming off for a bit of a rest, and Martin Render comes on. So a little bit of more goal-scoring power up there for the Eagles.
Just the decision-making process of both players from both teams falling down. Not this time, no. Chambers, the decision was fine. The kick was terrible.
Yep.
Scores a level, though.
Bread and butter stuff, really, Scotty, isn't it? That sort of stuff. You know, you've got to nail them.
Player that size, I mean, he's really got to capitalise on his opportunities. It really has been quite a promising start by Chambers too, and that would have capped off not a bad first quarter, but
it's good work by Taylor off the pack, you know, off the ruck tap. He was in the right position, and the good thing about Chambers, he was on the move, and just unfortunately just didn't finish off.
Did everything right except finish off.
Scores level at Subiaco. West Coast and Melbourne. Demons kicked the first 3 goals, so it's been a good comeback by the Eagles. Again, they're bearing down. Free kick in the back's going Melbourne's way. Interesting call. I think one cannon into the other then. Jeff White was perhaps a little fortunate. And now Phoebe in his customary role, delivering the ball from defence into attack. He kicked to the space rather than to the player there, and Jagovic read it pretty well. Oh, is he off? No, he's not. Swartz, now he's off, surely. The umpire making him come back behind his mark. And he didn't get there, but the umpire lets him go anyway. He goes out very, very wide. And the switch of play was on. So the Eagles able to gradually build.
It's a dangerous kick.
Fletcher. Kerr. Too much pressure on them at this stage. Across the ground. Gardner. Oh, White judged it beautifully at the back. He had the layoff handball. He had a couple, in fact, on the inside. This is Ward at full pace. His delivery in the end's pretty good for Woden. He's got Simmons to help him. Oh, crunch. And he just couldn't get the handball loose. So beautifully wrapped up by Kerr. He got a high tackle. Frustration for Shane Woden, but well played by the Eagles and young Daniel Kerr. Carroll with the hoppo-bumpo stuff.
If there's one part of Carroll's game he doesn't mind. He doesn't mind a physical clash.
Poor kick. Really poor kick. Green. Still, it's pretty open. There's a short on for Green here into Daniel Ward if he wants it. He takes it now. The Eagles have a chance to really set up. Now Ward breaking quickly. There's still space in the forward line. Good kick for Bruce, and he's got it. Well, it was all just a little too easy, wasn't it, for Cameron Bruce then? Had a lot of players out around the 50, and that left space in that last line of attack.
It was a very open forward line, wasn't it? But just not enough. We've seen a couple of times here, Farmer early just basically walking away from Wirrapunda on the mark, and once again, just not really guarding the mark and putting pressure on. You've got to make him kick over you.
So Bruce, good looking kick. They are very sharp up forward.
Yeah, lapse of concentration, Scotty, as you just mentioned, is what's cost the Eagles really the goals that Melbourne have actually got. You know, if a player's going to take a mark, you know, you've got to at least grab him and hold him up for a little while. It slows the play down, and we just sort of see it here. You know, Colliger had the chance really of just nailing him, and at least and the other thing it does, it just allows the players down the field to man up if they've been caught out. So, you know, if you get that situation, have a go.
There's a free kick paid in the middle of the ground, I think for some work off the ball back in the Melbourne attack. That's why it was in the centre rather than where the free kick actually happened. The emergency umpire was out in the Melbourne forward line working overtime. The crowd was certainly getting involved.
It's a free kick against David Swartz for altercating with Glenn Jakovic.
Let's have a look at it.
I've never heard it called altercating, Barra.
Is that a word?
Yeah, no, it's interesting.
That's pretty soft, isn't it, that free kick? Still, there's been a bit of niggle out there between the teams, so I guess the umpire trying to assert some authority on the contest. Ward, that was a good punch. Got the ball over the line and out of bounds. Miranda, crowd getting involved.
Gardner's off the bench having a spell. On the bench.
Inside the last minute then in this opening term, Melbourne with a 1-goal advantage. Farmer, the man that kicked the first 2 of the match. High kick from Brown. Green. Made the spoiled Jakovic. It's been pretty good for the Eagles so far. Wirrapunda beautifully wrapped up. Fletcher, they're going to need a mark from this kick. Can they get it? McIntosh, yeah, no! And no free kick, so the siren sounds to end a pretty interesting opening quarter. And the Eagles have shown that they can match it with Melbourne today. Just 2 wins for the season for the Eagles, just 5 for Melbourne coming off last year's grand final.
Well, I reckon they gave themselves definitely a chance of picking this game, and they've certainly shown it in the early parts of the game. And credit to Melbourne, though, they got off to a very good start, then they've probably weathered the storm and have just taken a little bit of control in the last probably 5 or 10 minutes of the game, Scotty.
They didn't put them away, though, Maney, did they? They had their chance, but West Coast well and truly back in this game. Looks like it's going to be a good one.
Back to you, Hutto.
Thanks, Adrian. So the second quarter about to get underway. It will be fascinating to watch what happens with David Neitz and indeed Farmer and Wirrapunda, who's his man at the moment. Gurgic has had a bit of a trim. He's watching Phil Matera, who kicked an exciting goal in the opening term. Second quarter from Subiaco. And it's Gardner and White renewing the battle. A great tap again out of the middle from Gardner to Cousins. It's going to be a real feature of the afternoon's telecast, and it could be quite decisive as to who wins this game. And there he is again, battling on Ben Cousins. Kept it in. Free kick off the ball. It's coming back, I think, to the Eagles.
You'd probably say just at the moment that White's probably had the better of the duel. He's had 7 possessions to Gardner's 8. As you said, though, those crucial taps in the middle does help sway it a little bit Gardner's way too.
Well, particularly if you can get it in the arms of Cousins.
Yep.
Well, they seem to have a lot of trouble stopping. Brown back with Simmons. Not much on for him at this stage. Just his second kick of the day. Troy Simmons going particularly short. Now he gets another chance for possession. He's got White over the top if he wants him. He had a couple of options, actually. White ends up with it. Thinks about it. Back to Gurgic. Tough one for Farmer! Oh, what a leap! Unfortunately, in fact, he completely cleared the pack in front. Didn't give any free kicks away. It was like a high jump, a running high jump. It was great stuff. Unfortunately, didn't touch the footy. Rapunda gets it onto the wing. Wheatley with a good spoil. Here's his opposite number, Matera, pumping it long and pumping it deep. It's opened up for the Eagles. Embley takes the mark with absolute ease. Could have moved it quickly, but he's almost within range. Might really give it a crack. Cummings to Shepherd. He will shepherd it through. Great start to his second term.
Mark that one down to Phil Matera, and his ability to hit the ground running. Just terrific recovery. Presented himself up on the midfield, and just there's Farmer just jumping over everyone. Matera brought that ball in there. It was a good kick, wasn't it? Outside 50 again. Terrific shepherd by Scotty Cummings.
Well, just what the Eagles needed. And scores level here at Subiaco, and every indication that we're in for a great contest this afternoon. White, oh, Gardner rode him. Rigoni, the Demons need to be a bit surer out of the middle. Phoebe, he took his time, and it was a good kick, really good kick for Robertson to run onto. Good battle, that one, between Robertson and Williams. Been held for most of the day, but he has kicked a goal. That's a Well, the idea was great. Schwartz doing pretty well in the end to take the footy. Ward under pressure around the body. Bruce, good spoil. Green, oh, good hands. Bruce, Brown, tough kick really, and he's done remarkably well to squeeze it through.
Good teamwork goal. If you run to the fall of the ball, if you have numbers there, if you support your teammates, then you're always in with a chance of beating the opposition, and that's really what the Melbourne players did. They ran to support their teammates, and well done there by Ward too. He didn't try to do anything smart, just centre the ball, and at least then players know exactly what's going on, and quick hands always makes it a lot easier.
Oh, very clean give by Green it was. I mean, that was a gem. Created the goal.
Having just looked at that replay, I think Nathan Brown actually barreled that through for a goal. It was sort of an accidental talk. It's done the job to give the Demons the lead. And now they might get another chance. Farmer back in the middle. Got plenty on the kick and got a bit of attention afterwards just to boot. So it's deep in Melbourne's attack. Simmons found himself in various places. Woden doesn't mind a shot for goal from there. Schwartz off the ground. And it's a behind.
Rowan Jones has been given the job on Adam Uze, who picks up a lot of the ball. He's done a pretty good job so far. Uze's just had the 3 possessions, hasn't been too damaging. Jones has only had the 1 possession, but he's wearing him very tight, and he's getting a little bit frustrated too, is Uze.
Jakovic marking the kick in. He's had 8 possessions today, Jakovic. Schwartz running over the mark, but he was with his man, so Rapunda was there first. Crowd wanted a 50-metre penalty. Jakovic bombing away to the wing. A lot of players around the ball. White, they're all angling for position. At the back, White again controlling it for Brown. One-on-one, Robertson over the back. Jakovic. It was all set up for him.
Nothing like using your teammate as a step ladder, is there?
No, although if you have a look at the replay, I'm not sure how high he actually got. But he did well. Rapunda, who had an inglorious start with Farmer kicking 2 goals on him, but he's hit back pretty well. Coming up for possession number 9. Melbourne clogging up the wing.
Yeah, I was just going to say, this is where the Eagles do fall down sometimes. If they don't move the ball quick, they get themselves in a lot of trouble. But if they can find a spare player, then it works to their advantage. But generally better if they move the ball quicker into their forward line.
Fletcher kicking in the end to a fair conglomerate of players. Well taken by Bruce. Terrific start. Phoebe not as good at getting rid of it. The crowd wanted a free Woden, I thought, go a bit of a shove in the back there. Umpire again, letting it all go. Phoebe, Taylor, ball up.
Well, it definitely looked like there was a bit of a nudge in the back there.
The umpire had the total opposite view to what we had, though, I guess.
Yeah, true.
Stephen Phoebe, what a campaigner he's been for Melbourne over the years. Spent some time in the VFL this year, but back in the seniors, 6 possessions so far today. Really tight struggle here at Subiaco. Getting towards the midway stage of the second quarter. Melbourne kicked the first 3 of the day. The Eagles hit back, and now it's a 7-point margin.
Hutto, just looking at the Eagles' forward structure, Cummings and McIntosh both in the square, and really, I mean, Phil Matera's been the one actually having to lead from centre-half forward, so perhaps the reason why they're a bit slow going forward in that last attack.
Ward, a pretty vigorous tackle in there. Chambers might get a free here. That'll open things up. And look to get the Eagles moving. Jakovic just played behind each contest, hasn't he, and provided the option, the advantage being paid. It was downfield initially, then actually went backwards for the advantage. Matera takes it well. That's the next kick, the all-important one. McIntosh provides the lead. Tough against the line. Nicholson does well. Just hesitated, held the ball up till he had an option, and now they can run through Simmons. White pushing wide. He wants to go longer. Look at Farmer. He's all on his own. Suddenly, Glass knew he had a contest. Farmer edged him out of it. Now, can he back himself at his pace? Will he take Glass on? Just ease past, let the traffic flow by. Bit of confusion, but he still had time to pop it up. Schwartz, he's within range from here. Should really go back and blast a goal. And that's exactly what he does. Well done, David Schwartz. Crowd not too excited about it, but David certainly is. 7-2 place, 5-1 at Subiaco.
He was just waiting for an option, wasn't he, Farmer? He sort of, I guess, just waited. He just took a little bit of time, waiting for something to pop up. In the end, it wasn't a great option, but just gave Schwartz the opportunity. Here, he just sidesteps one, holds on to it, looking, pops it out in front. Good patience.
It is amazing looking back at that incident. In modern footy these days, how often a player can just stand with the footy as everyone runs to man up. Out of the middle, Wood giving the Eagles a chance. McIntosh and Nicholson. Good contest, that one. Good contest, that one too. Scotty Cummins versus Needs. Wooden, Kerr, tackle. Wooden again. Involved 3 times in that passage of play. Couldn't hit the target that time. Nicholson well tackled. The pressure on the Melbourne defence. They're standing up well though. Phoebe getting a lot of it in this quarter. McDonald calls for it out wide. He's got the loose man. Guess who's clear in the middle of the ground? If Bruce can find him, it's Farmer, but he doesn't go to him. Instead, the Demons attack on the outer side. Uze has been pretty quiet so far. Not anymore. Takes the mark.
We've got Darren Glass on Jeff Farmer at the moment, and that is a complete mismatch.
He was just in the right position there, Uze. He was on the right side of the ball the way that was being delivered. And it's a nice long kick too, but he just got Jones out positioned.
So Jones has done a good job of quelling him so far. It looks like he's pushed forward. Maybe that's the way he's going to get involved. Uze, not a great kick. And the Demons, well, there's still a chance. They're always a chance. Green could have gone back, but he laconically kicks it around the corner. Across the face. Good spoil from Colica. Look at Farmer. Well, the boundary line got in the road that time, but he loves working close to those lines, doesn't he?
You just hear the hum in the crowd when he starts to get near the ball. He's just exciting to watch.
Jakovic with the initial tap. Robertson again going off the ground. That time he couldn't work the same miracle as Green did earlier. So behind Melbourne's third, 7-3-45. It's a handy little lead in a pretty close game, this, 14 points. The Eagles certainly need to respond.
They've come out very hard early in both quarters so far, haven't they, Melbourne?
That's a good kick in. Jakovic has been the target on each and every kick in so far. Here he goes away again, kicking it out wide into the space. Chambers let McIntosh come through. Well played in the end. Fletcher off his trusty left, lays it up, lace up for Matera. Gardner will give him the option over the top. Can he run in and kick the goal? He's got a man in board, but he's going to go back and have the shot, it looks like. probably the wise decision in the end. By the time he got there, the troops had arrived.
One of the assets of Michael Gardner is his ability, you mentioned it earlier on, Scotty, to actually run forward and just offer himself. He's done it pretty well this year, Michael Gardner.
Surprise move here, Maney. Jakovic off the ground, Gaspar on.
It is a bit of a surprise. Gardner, terrific kick. Oh, splendid kick, it's a goal.
Just a huge asset to have a ruckman who can actually work forward and present. It just makes the other ruckman actually has to play accountable football on him. If they don't, Gardner's proven time and time again that he'll hurt you on the scoreboard. Also, just the work in that passage of play by Chad Fletcher. I mean, here it is here. This is what he does so well. Wheels onto the left boot, and that kick is just right on the money. And a smart handball by Ashley McIntosh, because he got it to a guy who was on his preferred foot, which made it a lot easier to deliver the ball.
Pretty good crowd in at Subiaco today, 30,000 almost, and they're expecting a little less than that. They're seeing a good contest at the moment. Important goal, that last one for the Eagles. Maybe it'll give them some momentum. Out of the middle, Cousins into the space. Matera, can he get there? Can he get there? What a grab! Down low. Well done. And Matera involved in that last goal.
I tell you, it's good work by Richard Taylor too, because he's actually was the fifth man into the square. Then he's come off the half-forward line and picked up that ball and was able to sort of get it out. So, and that's what you want. You want your players to get in there and offer that extra man inside the centre square. And he's been very good today, Matera.
Slippery challenge for Gurgic. Here's Matera then from inside 50. Oh, it's a shocking kick. Cummings will try and take the mark, and it's inside the line. No, it's not. It's outside the line, out in the full, and Scotty is angry. He's mad. It looked like I took it inside.
It did look like it. We might get another look at that, but
it's probably been Philip Matera's downfall this year is his efficiency on shooting on goal, hasn't it?
Here we go, just having a look at this one. Might be hard to pick up.
Line, but he comes. Wow.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
No, I think
hard to tell from that angle.
Yeah, that was right.
Simmons bombing away, big pack of players. Right at the back, Neats. Melbourne want a free. Wheatley, Kerr releasing it. Ward going in hard, just locking it up. The bounce is inevitable.
Jacko's gone back onto the ground, back onto Swartz. Ashley McIntosh is having a spell now. Jacko, just a bit of penance, I think.
What did he do wrong?
That mark from Swartz on his own
layup. That's right.
Goal, yeah.
Well, he's given them a fair bit, hasn't he, off half-back Jakovic? 12 possessions, 5 marks. Farmer. Fletcher, good persistence. And he just couldn't release the ball. Now he does, with the umpire's blowing the whistle in the back. Fletcher's got the free. Farmer's a bit annoyed. He wants to be careful here. Crowd wanted a 50. Important attacking move here. They could get another one, the Eagles, and they're only a couple of points behind. Halfway stage of the second quarter. The lead is from Embley. Well-placed kick. Still, it's a very tough ask for that position.
Pretty tough kick. Fletcher was always going to kick there. I just thought Melbourne were a little bit lapsed in their defence. They just needed to get more players into the dangerous area.
I suppose if you're going to allow a kick, though, Scotty, out of all the places, then that's probably the best spot you want, being the opposition side.
Very tough kick.
It's a good-looking kick. Oh. It's a great-looking kick. Embley brings the house down with that one.
That's a
tough kick, good goal.
Oh, terrific goal. And look, he's kicked 2 goals from outside 50, Andrew Embley, and that one there he kicked from the third row of the stand. He has been outstanding today. I mean, I know he's a player that you really like, Maney, but he's been good. 3 goals before half-time, and he has a presence around the ball. He's kicked that from on 50 as well. Doesn't mind a long goal.
Well, he hits the players hard. He hits the ball hard. He takes a good mark, and, you know, that's his 3rd goal for the day too. So, all round, pretty good player.
Well, so much at stake here for both teams today. Melbourne in terms of any finals aspirations at all, and the Eagles for some respect. Out of the middle, Gardner. It's a great contest. Chambers battling on hard. He's got the free. He's giving them some drive around the ground, and now up forward. McDonald is the extra man in defence. He's filling the space, but the kick will find Wooten, and he's within range. And this to put the Eagles in front. And he's given a message from his teammate in no uncertain terms, and that is, have a shot.
Something to think about, Hutto. They have got the breeze, the Eagles, and that's why a lot of these balls are carrying into the forward line. Deep.
Actually, just looking at the flags, Barrett actually looks quite strong.
Where the Eagles have been very good at the moment, we talked about it a bit before with the Gardner-White situation. Gardner has really taken control in the centre in this quarter.
So Josh Wooden, an awkward-looking kick. It's just away to the right, so a couple of chances gone begging in this quarter. 7-3 playing 7-2. In terms of possessions, 10 to Chad Fletcher today, 9 to Cousins, 7 to Gardner, 7 to Chambers, 12 to Jakovic, and 10 to Daniel Kerr, 9 to Wapunda for the Demons. A bit more of a spread, 9 to Farmer, 8 to Bruce, 10 to White, 8 to Phoebe, and 7 to Simmons. Wheatley with the kicking in duties. Brown takes the mark. Now he played on straight away, didn't have anything up the ground to go to. That's going to put the pressure on here. Rigoni, they controlled it pretty well with short kicks and handballs. Ward with the mark. He's got good distance on that kick. McDonald and Chambers. Good spoil from Chambers. As good as a possession. Sets them up again. Fletcher. Good one-on-one battle. James McDonald on the ground. Needs coming in to lend some support. He kicked it to the wing. He had shorter options on. Wapunda most favoured by the kick. He's going to take it close to the line. Uses Gardner. Well done. And they can set up again, the Eagles. Awkward looking kick. It wasn't all that bad. Good spoil from McDonald, and the ball over the line and out of bounds. Interesting. Barry, we haven't seen Andrew Liancelli today, have we, for Melbourne? As we just...
Actually, you are a genius. He's just about to come on.
Shane
You basically
Woden.
called it.
Yep, replacing Shane Woden.
Don't forget is7sport.com.au. We've got someone very important in the chat room tonight. We'll have to check out Chris Main Waring in the chat room tonight at 7:30. Here's Kerr off the right boot. Simmons, good mark. Nicholson doubling back. Brown. He's got White out wide of Phoebe here, but he just couldn't control it. Now he does it well. The recovery was good. James McDonald. So they're using their bench late in this quarter with McDonald coming on and also Liancelli. A bit of a duck of the head there, but it's effective enough. And the Demons into attack. Bruce has presented himself well this time. He's worried out of it. Glass guides it onto the wing. Good kick. Chambers, what a game he's playing.
That was well done by Glass here a minute ago, just to push the Melbourne player off the ball.
He made a bit of a meal of it there. Chambers lucky to escape. Played on when he perhaps didn't have to. Well, he's got a loose man on here over the top. Gee, Fletcher's getting a lot of the footy, isn't he?
This is his 10th kick coming up here.
Can he lay it? Oh, he kicked it high. Tough. Although Embley can run back. He's under some pressure. Wheatley happy to see it out of bounds.
He's being paid no respect at all, Fletcher, at the moment, and he does have that lethal left foot. If you leave him alone, he's good enough to spot it onto full forwards all the time, so they'd want to just pay him a little bit more respect at this stage.
Well, the Eagles attacking here, trailing by just 1 point.
So Woden and Rigoni on the bench now, and I think Woden probably Chad Fletcher shading him. That's the reason.
Yeah, well, he's given his next lot of midfielders a chance. And Liancelli not a bad backup. He's had an indifferent season though, Liancelli. Another ball up. Started the year really well, but he's had a bit of a problem with the shoulder. And in the last match, he was dropped, but didn't play in the VFL, preferring to try and overcome his shoulder injury.
Both Kerr and Fletcher just loose, hanging off the pack at the moment for West Coast. They don't have a direct opponent.
Gaspar doing the ruck work. Phoebe seen a lot of the footy in this quarter. Uze one-on-one with Rowan Jones. Oh, good grab. He is a class player, Adam Uze. Hasn't seen much of it today. Thompson also on the ground. He'll come into play here from behind Robertson. Young Scott Thompson, there he is for Melbourne. And he's a good young player. Looks good. Down to Swartz. One-on-one with Jakovic. Just couldn't handle it. And good support from Wapunda. Good kick too, and they can really run here from half-back. Wooden pushing into defence. Onto the wing. Chambers again. He's slaughtering them through the middle. That kick was not the greatest, although maybe he had Rowan Jones in mind. Jones, I think, had the momentum up a bit too much that time. But the Eagles are doing a good job here late in this second quarter.
Well, they're getting the ball inside their 50, almost double what Melbourne is. They've had them 23 times to 14, but, you know, they probably just haven't got enough on the scoreboard, Scotty.
Cousins. Gaspar, quick kick. Great kick. The Eagles are in front.
Well, they've had plenty of the ball down there, Laney, as you mentioned, and look, I reckon they've had better attacks going forward than that one, that's for sure, but Gaspar really made something out of nothing. Very good kick. Cousins winning the ball. Just threw it on the boot, really, Gaspar, from a pretty acute angle, and got the desired result. Not pretty, but very effective.
Well, they've had the ball inside 50 11 times to 5 in this quarter. So the Eagles leading by 5. The first time they've hit the front since the start. Farmer started the match with 2 goals. Munro on the ground. You can see Uze getting it forward. Schwartz. Djakovic after him. Big turn from Schwartz. James McDonald. A path was cleared for him so he can kick it along into space. Bruce. Oh, came off his boot, and that's out of, well, almost out on the floor.
Schwartz, Danaher's moved Schwartz up the ground at the moment. He was playing at full forward on Djakovic, and Danaher's just trying to get...
He's actually been dragged.
He's come
Schwartz
off,
off the bench. He's on the bench.
No wonder he was being moved up the ground. Barry was getting pulled up off the ground.
So maybe Jeff White playing... no, it's Jeff White up forward. It's Cameron Bruce. A small forward line at the moment with Gurgic going back into the goal square. In fact, he's on his own at the moment, so Carroll has to lead this contest. You can see him at the top of the screen just running back. Wooden. Gee, did well then. He ignored the pressure that he was under and waited until he had an option. That's a great kick from Djakovic. Gardner. And now the Eagles flowing forward. Miranda, big chance here for West Coast. Backed himself in. Cummings. Good looking kick. Just couldn't get there on the full. Cousins swooping. Ward, his opponent now. Shrugging, getting it back. Chambers had a big corner. Callum Chambers wants to finish it off in good style. He can't. Liancelli, oh, dropped it. First touch back in Liancelli, and it wasn't a memorable one for him. White able to release it at least in time for Brown. They're under pressure at the moment, the Demons. Thompson trying to shrug off Wooden. Goes again. Well done, Wooden. Here's Jones. Handled it beautifully. Good tackle, Uze. Brown. The ball over the line and out of bounds.
Oh, good passage of play. I mean, it's really heating up here, isn't it? Just some terrific tackling there from both sides.
And it was well done by the umpire too to let it go, because there was probably 1 or 2 times he may have been able to blow the whistle, but no side got an advantage, and I reckon that was well done by the umpires.
So 5 points the difference. Late in this second quarter, about 4.5 minutes to go. I think the Demons will be hoping that half-time comes as quick as it can without too much more damage. That's a throw.
Yeah.
Matera not happy.
The umpire was in the right position there to see Philip Matera just chuck it, basically.
From James to Anthony. McDonald. And the ball going deep into attack. Good wrestling down there. Gurgic couldn't take it. Rapunda, this is Robertson. Rapunda again. Well done, Bruce. Farmer back into the game with a great looking kick, which is just going across the face. Now there's a free kick here, and I think it's going West Coast way.
Rapunda putting his hand up for it. Couldn't quite make out what that was for there, but was holding the man.
Munro takes the... Oh, he didn't take the mark, and then it's out of bounds.
Jeepers. Phil Matera's on the ball now. Cousins resting in the forward pocket. And there's Schwartz sitting it out till half-time.
Jeepers. So, right near 50. Farmer again. Into the pocket, a high one. Gurgic going back. It'll be hard to see him taking too many marks down there with a small forward line like that. Carroll the spoiler initially. And the ball over the line out of bounds. So the Melbourne team of coaching staff have got their problems at the moment. I wonder if and when David Neitz will go forward. But really the problem hasn't been up forward, has it? It's been in the midfield. And in defence, with particularly the midfield. Leoncelli. Oh, kicks a good goal. That'll make him feel better. Well done, Andrew Leoncelli. And gives Melbourne back the slight advantage.
Just allowed him access to the goal front, Leoncelli here. There you go, just no one basically on the defensive side, and in those situations, you've got to make sure you have someone between the opposition and the goals to stop an easy access like they did then.
So welcome goal for the Demons, puts them back in front. Simmons doing the ruck work at the moment. Munro just got shoved out of it. He's going to get a free for it. Leoncelli boxing on.
Loose players forward for West Coast.
They're all pushed forward in both directions.
Gee, the Melbourne midfield is just non-existent at the moment.
Jakovic. He goes for one of those bombs. It's a high one. Good mark from Nicholson. There was a fair bit going on off the ball then on Cousins. White demanding it at centre-half back. Nicholson not able to spot him up at this stage. The umpire called play on. Cummings was awake to it. Came from behind. Cousins dispossessed. A throw. Maybe the umpire was having second thoughts about the initial one. Meets somewhat dangerously, but that's okay. Simmons. And the switch is okay. Anthony McDonald, who's been okay since he's... James McDonald, I should say, has been okay since he's come on. Doubling back is Uze. Good little work at the body there. Look at him, he's away. Oh, he took too long to kick it. Good persistence from Rowan Jones. Want the footy back for the Eagles. Munro off the left boot. Good kick. Don't know what Scotty Cummins is doing there. Maybe he doesn't either. He's gone. And that is holding the ball. Not paid by the umpire. Should have been. Kick from Cousins. Good mark taken by Gardner. Gardner can swing them deep into attack. It's a pumping kick towards full forward. Philip Matera. He's got it.
Just how did he mark that?
Oh, well, he was so loose.
Yeah. I mean, when it's a situation where realistically you saw Gardner running in, you knew that he was going to bomb it long. And as you mentioned, Hutto, for him to be able to get in that situation, it's hard to work out from the Melbourne defence.
Here's the shot. It's a good one. So the Eagles are back in front. What a game.
They actually had numbers down there, didn't they, Melbourne? But it almost looked to me, it appeared that they just weren't prepared or committed to actually help each other. We'll have here's a kick coming in from Gardner. He's really starting to get hold of the pill. But it just looked to me they certainly had numbers, but an inability or a lack of commitment to actually covering each other.
Scotty Cummings has gone off the ground, so he was obviously on his way to the bench. I think he was very lucky not to be pinged for holding the ball. And as a result of that...
Well, he had opportunity to get rid of it, Hutto.
He certainly did.
Holding the ball.
He certainly did.
You've got to be aware of what's around you, don't you, on the footy field?
But anyway, the Eagles have prospered from it. They've been the better team in this quarter, that's for sure. Well done, Wapunda. Great persistence. Cousins on the outlet. Wooden starting to just get a bit excited here now, the Eagles crowd. Kane Munro. And that's a shot.
I think he might be heading our way soon.
That sort of kick just stops momentum of a side. They've got to roll on, keep the pressure on. That takes the pressure right off.
Last minute of the first half, and the West Coast are in front, leading by 5. Big pack of players. Gardner. White made the spoil. Gergie. Robertson's hurt. He doesn't look good at this stage. McDonald. So Melbourne have got a chance. Neats pushing forward, using Brown. Got the time here to try and spot something up. Went for the pass. Bruce was on the lead. Doubling back. Which way will it bounce in the square? It's tough. It's hard down there for Uze. Bruce trying to swoop on it. The Eagles, if they can get a ball up here, it might be enough to almost end the half. And Gavin Dorr going for the bounce. Let's have a look at Robertson again. Just got a bit squashed here.
I think it was a cricket injury, so to speak. Coming off now.
So not long to go in the half. Can Melbourne get a boot to ball? Doesn't look like it. The West Coast Eagles are in front at half-time. and they've battled on pretty well. 9-2-56 to Melbourne 8-3-51.
They have done pretty well in that quarter. I mean, guys like Fletcher certainly stood up. I thought Chambers was very good. But the Melbourne midfield, when we have a look at it, Woden 3 possessions, Uze 5, Leoncelli 1, Rigoni 6. That is not enough output from the midfield in order to put some pressure on the opposition.
Ben Cousins has 17 possessions at half-time. The Eagles are in front. They lead by 5.
But here's, boys, don't drop off, boys. Don't do the famous Eagles fade out in the second half. We want to have a win today. It's been a long time between drinks. The Demons, as you guys have been saying, have been beaten in the midfield. Will Neitz be thrown forward? At this stage, he's still in the back line. And Jakovic and Swartz are lining up again on each other. Back to you, Hutto.
All right. Thanks, Barrett. Third quarter from Subiaco. And the Eagles in front in unfamiliar territory at this stage. And Rapunda trying to turn around the start from the open in the first quarter when we saw his man Jeff Farmer kicking the first 2 goals. That time he gets amongst it and the ball out of bounds.
It was well done there by Rapunda. He basically stole the ball when the handball was going off to the Melbourne player. And he's just got to make sure that he remains pretty tight on Farmer, because as we know, he can cut loose at any time.
Uze is playing at full forward for Melbourne. One out in the goal square with Rowan Jones. Kerr doing some tumbling, and Williams pumping them forward. Woden playing in defence, made the spoil okay. Matera had it taken away from him. Good work, the Demons midfield, trying to get amongst the kicks. Thompson couldn't take it. McDonald. Green also in unfamiliar territory, up the ground a long way. Swartz, competitive. Bruce trying to play it to his own advantage, but he was hassled and harangued out of it. The Eagles had the numbers on their side. This is Gardner presenting himself as he has so often today, and the ball out of bounds.
Well, he's won the battle so far against White, hasn't he, Gardner?
Yeah,
he's certainly been the better of the two.
And just in the area where he's got possessions has been much more damaging than Jeff White.
Jeff White 10 possessions, 6 hit-outs. Gardner's had 10 possessions and 6 hit-outs. So statistically it's close, but Gardner's had more impact. Brown. Ball up. Interesting with Uze, isn't it, that he's playing one out in the goal square down there?
Yeah, look, I mean, his compared to his average, he's just so far down today. I mean, he's had 6 possessions for the game, and what did he have last week? 28 kicks, 1 handball. That's a huge change.
Yeah, he's averaging, I think, 19 and 2.
Yep.
Gardner waiting for White. Good tap from White. The advantage of McDonald. Applies a good tackle on glass. Bruce gathering it well. Demons have got the win, don't forget, in this quarter. Ward was at a throw. Thompson couldn't get it clear. He was trying to find McDonald. He couldn't. The Eagles manning up. Advantage paid. It was a high tackle initially. This is Williams laying it off Fletcher. He's had so much of it today. Gardner wanted to use Rapunda. Now he might have better options. Plenty of space, that's for sure. Matera. McDonald closed in on him beautifully. Terrific tackle. Callum Chambers trying to find a way through. Kerr couldn't lay it off to Wooden. Great tackling. Got the feeling this is going to be a heck of a contest in the second half.
Yeah, they stood up there, the Melbourne defence, didn't they? Phil Matera, very hard man to actually pin, but just
McDonald,
McDonald just didn't commit and just herded him into the boundary. What played?
Brown waiting down. McIntosh the tap. Woden lost his footing. Wheatley, Nicholson. Oh, it's tough down there for the Demons. The Eagles look the better team just at the moment. Woden took a long time again trying to size them up. McDonald, Brown running out of options. Rigoni will be flat-footed when he hit the ground. Brown had Wheatley on offer and used him well. He kicks for the advantage of Green, who's having a run up on the wing or the midfield. Wasn't a great kick. Rapunda. Farmer has to turn defender. Oh, Rapunda got himself into all sorts of trouble then.
I think the Wiz looked up and saw Farmer and said, no, not taking him on.
Which Wiz?
Yeah, exactly.
The Wizard looked at the Wizard and they said, right, yeah, that's a draw. I'm throwing it over the boundary line.
I'm giving it up. 9-2 plays 8-3 in this third quarter from Subiaco. West Coast 2 wins for the year. Melbourne 5 coming off a grand final appearance last year. Farmer trying to ignite the Demons. Wanted a free kick, well wrapped up, good tackle. Melbourne's chances of playing in the finals will dissipate, you would think, if they lose here today.
There's Leoncelli still on the bench, Huddo.
Came on and kicked a goal late in the second quarter. Farmer waiting down. Swartz. A little lucky, you would think, there to get that free kick. In the back, the call. Ward's waiting off here, might receive the handball. No, Swartz going back, trying to get Jeff White on a lead. He's out in front. Gardner did really well. Doubled back to take the mark. And Jeff White would be pretty annoyed with that. It wasn't the greatest kick in the world.
Hang on, they're pulling him back here.
I think he's just having a word to him, just settling him down.
They do have an intense rivalry, those two. Just playing in front. Good strong mark by Michael Gardner.
I'm not entirely sure what that achieves, actually. Slowing the play down to have the word to him. Gardner. Woden, well done. Just slipping in front, takes the mark. He's had just 6 possessions today, Shane Woden, so his indifferent year continues. Setting it up, the lead from Uze. Well, they wanted to get him one-on-one, otherwise he wouldn't be playing out of the square, and Rowan Jones was certainly capable that time.
He's done his job today, certainly, Jones. Uze has had 6 possessions.
Well, he's been one of the few midfielders who's been capable of winning the footy for Melbourne this year, so I am surprised that he is in the square. But maybe he can be an impact player up there. McDonald, Wapunda has just grown in stature as this match has gone on, hasn't he? His impact. That's 18 possessions now.
When you consider that
he was cut up, wasn't he?
Well, he just got touched up in the first 5 minutes.
But he does that, doesn't he? He allows
does.
players very early to get on top of him, and then he seems to work. It's almost like he puts a challenge out there for himself.
Yep, he waits for a goal to be kicked on him before he sparks into action.
Swartz, well tackled by Jakovic. And Cousins, who else? Another couple of possessions for him. Williams it was providing that time. Nicholson to spoil McIntosh, which he does. In fact, he took the mark. The umpire didn't pay it, which was a bit unfortunate, but they had time to work their way out of it. Rigoni is a penetrating kick. He's got the wind behind him. Look at that for a missile from Guy Rigoni. A magnificent kick. A magnificent goal. That is inspirational stuff from Guy Rigoni. And it just shows how strong the wind is as well.
Yeah, and that's what the Melbourne midfielders have got to do. They've got to start to be more damaging. And if they can get the ball, especially a bloke like Rigoni, like you mentioned, Hutto, who can kick the ball a fair distance, if he can get in situations like that and he can be penetrating, then they're going to be damaging. And that's what Neil Danaher would have been saying at half-time. I need more out of my midfield. We're pretty close. You know, the Eagles have had most of the ball, but if we can control that, then we're back in this game easily.
So the 60-metre kick from Guy Rigoni gives Melbourne the lead back. White and Gardner out of the middle. Ward couldn't take it. McDonald could, but his handball intercepted. Well done, Colica. He got it away. His first possession of the day. And now the Eagles through Cousins again. Chambers with the opportunity. Woden bearing down the boundary line. Got there before either of them.
Ben Cousins just continuing to rack up possessions. He's so good at just keeping himself in the contest. His stamina and his running ability. It would have to be. I can't think of another AFL player who can keep himself in the game as long as Cousins can. Maybe Harvey at his peak, but
in this days of rotation, he's just amazing, isn't he? Keeps on going. McIntosh doubling back Nicholson. Woden just finding the footy a bit early in this third quarter, which is a good sign for Melbourne.
Hutto, just to go on with Ben Cousins, you look at his stats at the end of the game, he'll have 17 and 18 receives. I mean, that's just his ability to keep himself around the ball. He's just a fantastic athlete.
22 possessions today, 10 and 12. McIntosh, rucking and roving. Phoebe wanted the footy more than anyone else. Well done, McDonald, Ward. And now Melbourne looking a little better. Bit of space here. Farmer just couldn't edge it off. Swartz and Jakovic will back himself here. Swartz, he's got support from Wheatley. Wooden also in the contest. Diving on it, Bruce. Couldn't control it. Jakovic, Swartz, Farmer. They're all involved. Here's Jeff Farmer. Just couldn't get the clean possession. Still there a chance, the Demons. Thompson goes in. Wapunda harassed, harangued. And he's got a free kick.
He was lucky there, Glenn Jakovic. He put that ball back into Melbourne's danger spot, into the Eagles' danger spot, I should say. And
poor kick. Well done by White, but he might get a second chance here. Kerr didn't have the penetration on the kick. That's a good mark by Chambers.
He's grown in stature here today, Chambers. I've been quite impressed with him.
Oh, the ball was wobbling around in the breeze. Matera came at it, well done by Shane Woden, shrugged the tackle, got Simmons away. Demons starting to build along the wing. Phoebe pinpointing the pass. Green, again he backed himself in the back.
Holding the ball.
No, neither. Oh, he's gone this time. Ducked the head, lucky to get away with it, but he did get away with it. Brown around the corner, Wheatley trying to control it. Cousins again involved. Carroll trying to lay the handball off. Oh, lovely. No-look handball from Glass. Got it away. Kick from Cousins.
Strong
magnificent.
hands.
He's going to be involved again if they're not careful. Fletcher up the left. Lays it up for McIntosh. Got him. Great movement of the footing along the wing. McIntosh just out of range, you would think. They're pushing forward, the Eagles. They're calling for it. The crowd
Free kick.
Free to Scotty Cummings in front of goal against David Neitz. Part 2 of World Championship Wrestling.
Well, I don't get myself in trouble, but I'd back Cummings under those rules.
What rules?
The wrestling rules.
Oh, well, that was my question. What rules?
Well, he needs to put this away now because it's been a very good build-up. He needs to nail this.
He certainly does. It'll also give the Eagles back the lead. Oh, it's just got in, but it's there. The Eagles in front. Yet again.
Well, the free kick to Scotty Cummings probably won't do justice to the passage of play.
Look up the top of the goal square.
10 metres out from goal. Yeah, just hard to make out, but obviously just holding the jumper maybe, or had contact with him from behind. Scotty Cummings was happy with it. Didn't look like much from here.
So a decision like that just has so much impact on a game, doesn't it? It may have been right, it may have been there, and if it was, then he had to pay it. But gee, what an impact it has. 5 points the difference. Fletcher gets it long, needs to try and spoil. McDonald it was that did the spoiling in the end. Brown, move it forward. Here's what McDonald is told. Liancelli, good recovery to take the mark. He was off balance. One of their prime midfielders when he's going. Scrappy old kick. They might need a lucky bounce here, the Demons. They don't get it. Rapunda had a swing and a miss in the end. He was trying to get it out of bounds. Farmer wrapped them up, but not enough. Rapunda goes out on the full. Went for the boundary anyway. It's going to be Uze's kick. Now he's penetrating kick out of Uze. This will be a very tough ask. We saw Rigoni kick a terrific goal earlier. Wheatley's an option in just on the 50. He's calling for it, but now it's covered. Does he back himself and have a shot, or does he set it up? No obvious option, but he just sets it up in the square. Well, in the end, it was a post.
Yeah.
He didn't look like he was actually having a shot, did he? It looks like he was setting it up, but the breeze took it and hit the post. 4 points the margin. Rapunda. Taylor, oh, it was a dreadful kick in, just had too much on it. Thompson had the time to steady and misses to the left. He had teammates around him, but I think he took responsibility for it in the end, and so you can't blame him for that. But you can blame him for missing.
I'd say David Rapunda will go long on this kick. I don't think he'll be taking any chances to go short.
Absolutely. White from behind. Oh, what a mark! Over the top. A return to the old days for Glenn Jakovic.
He's been good today. He's had the better of Schwartz without a doubt. He's gone back to centre back. He's been playing up at centre forward, but he's been getting better week in, week out, Jakovic.
Went for Gardner. Simmons pushed him. Fairly, said the umpire. Green playing as a midfielder. Interesting to see how he copes with that. Wouldn't have been there too many times at the top level. The Eagles with numbers across half back. Just trying to set it up. Jakovic. Had a recovery from his limp earlier. Went for Cousins, was out wide. Good tackle from Uze. Great stuff for the Demons. Rigoni kicked one already. Didn't have the balance that time. He had numbers everywhere. Liancelli will go back and have a shot. He's got Schwartz on if he wants him, but I think the right thing to do is to go back, be positive and kick the goal.
You call it, Hutto, terrific tackling pressure by Melbourne just to keep the ball alive. And that's what creates goals. If you can actually fight and make it hard to take the ball away from your offensive side, you can create an opportunity. And Shelley's got one now.
As this is happening, David Swartz off the ground.
And Robertson on. So here comes Andrew Lee and Shelley. It's away to the right, but it swings back nicely. He's done it. So Melbourne back in front. They've got the breeze. They need to make the most of it in this third quarter. The margin stands at 3.
And just this kick of Djakovic, they actually just took it a bit too easy then, the West Coast Eagles. They thought they had control of the ball, and just a simple little mistake like that has proved very costly to the Eagles. Djakovic has just come off at the time, Bernie. He seemed to have hurt his knee.
Yeah.
And Melbourne have punished the Eagles.
So Gasper going back into defence to replace Djakovic, who just limped off a bit. Wooden is the loose man in defence. Melbourne have got their loose man on the outer wing in Green. And now he might get a chance if he can apply a tackle here. Brown it was that did the tackling initially. McIntosh worked it back. Cousins just blasted away. It wasn't, well, actually, he did have something in mind, but he just couldn't find his teammate in Wooden, who he was looking for, or Chambers, who was looking for. Wheatley gets it over the line and out of bounds.
Bit of work on Glenn Djakovic here. Looks like he might have hurt his calf, actually.
Melbourne by 3, halfway through the third quarter at Subiaco. Crowd of just on 30,000. Overcast afternoon, pretty warm conditions. Fine for footy. Simmons over the top, battling with Carroll. On the ricochet, guess who? Cousins. Goes for McIntosh. Nicholson to spoil. McIntosh, clever play. Miranda's handball. Made it a little tough for Taylor, but he's got the time to control it. Rigoni was bearing down. Had to run the arc. Good looking kick. Great looking kick. And running onto it. Taking the mark is young Munro. He had the long sleeves in the first half. Had a few fumbles, so he's come out with the short sleeves in the second. Terrific kick though, wasn't it, to space?
Oh, just a great kick by Taylor. Actually, just to actually have the composure in the centre of the ground, knew he had a little bit of space, turned on his preferred foot, and just kicked it to space, gave his forwards a chance. They're all big kicks at this stage of the game when there's only 3 points in it, but you just get the feeling that it's going to go down to the wire this game.
Especially when you've never kicked a goal before. Kane Munro. He has net. Oh, maybe he hasn't. Yes, he has. Gee, that was close. But it looked like it was just beaming in on the post for a while. But it sneaks in. And well done to the young man. Well done to the Eagles, who are back in front.
Yeah, well, they've done pretty well in this quarter. You know, the wind's quite strong. As you mentioned, Scotty, a good kick by Taylor. Good vision there. You've got to weigh up your options. And he saw that there was plenty of room for Munro to run into. He just weighted the kick perfectly for him.
So the crowd finding voice. It's a crucial stage in the match. Young Kane Munro's first career goal has given them the lead back. Uze's back on the ball. Gaspar didn't take the mark. Ward. It's Colica, yep. Good work though from the Demons. Lee and Shelley. High one to the square. Doubling back. Bruce. Was he holding on? No. Play on. And now a bounce.
Yeah, well, Neil Danaher's made the decision that he needs his best ball players getting hold of the ball and being in the centre of the ground, and that's where Uzo's gone.
Robertson one-on-one. Cousins. Little dangerous. Wapunda. Great composure from Wapunda. The kick, though, maybe not ideal. Brown takes the mark. He's got a couple of options. Thompson, one of them at centre-half forward. He's got himself into trouble and into it in a big way. Quick hands, got them out of it. Oh, White looked around. He might need it back. Oh, they're under pressure. Well done, Thompson. He struck the tackle and passed for Uze, but couldn't take the mark. Cousins in the last line of defence. Well, they're under fierce pressure here. Williams, and it's out of bounds, and they'll be happy enough to find it over the line and out of bounds. Eagles in front, hanging on by 3 at the moment. Delicately poised this game as we close in on three-quarter time. 7.5 minutes of actual playing time. The Eagles sensing they've got a real chance of a win here. Melbourne having an ordinary season after last year making the grand final. Green being well tackled. The Eagles doing well at the contest. Gasper, was there a whistle? There was. Advantage play. Look at McIntosh. He's clear. There's a paddock in front of him. There's also Miranda and Woden. Was that an interference? No, it wasn't. Miranda, well done, James McDonald. Took them all on. Couldn't beat them. Couldn't beat them, though, in the end. Munro, well done by Phoebe. Well done by Woden. Got a high tackle. Maybe his head was down. The umpire deciding a bounce was the right decision. Good footy by the Demons defence under pressure there. James McDonald initially.
Yeah, good play by both sides there. Well, one just putting his head over the ball, taking it on. Unlucky not to get the free kick, really. The tackle started high, but both teams just pretty committed to the ball at the moment.
6.5 minutes remaining. Gasper over the top. Miranda. Fletcher off the left. Didn't try and have a shot. Set it up for the leading men. They were Cummings and Matera. Neitz went to ground. Got the handball away in desperation. Good tackling. Cummings. Fletcher gave it to him. Left foot kick. More Eagles than Demons. Miranda made a run for it. At the back. Matera where he should be. He's missed.
Normally pretty good on the snap for Matera. Normally much better than he is when actually running straight onto goal, but you'd almost back him to kick that one. Fletcher, just gee, he's been good. 18 possessions, 15 of those kicks.
Rigoni streaming out of defence, uses Thompson. Had to back to find some space for himself. He does use the ball well though, Thompson doesn't. Look at that kick. Robertson, who replaced Swartz about 5 minutes ago. Wheatley calls for it, so does Liancelli, nothing decisive. Uze's pushed inside 50 again, that's where he goes. So Uze's got to the front. Jones slipped over for a minute. In the end, he recovered pretty well. And the line was the aim of all that, and that's exactly where Wooden took it. Melbourne wanted it to be deliberate, but the umpire wasn't buying it. West Coast by 4. Melbourne with the breeze in this quarter. They're in attack. Melbourne have won this quarter by just a point. Been pretty close all day. Oh, Robertson so good at doing that, but the finish not there. And those little things the Eagles are doing, just giving them the edge at the moment.
David Wirapunda, after getting his pants pulled down in the first 5 minutes, has come out, he's had 22 possessions, and have a look at this. That is the sort of team ethic that can win you a game.
Simmons, Liancelli. Eventually a bounce, just as Farmer was thinking maybe I'm a chance to rip it out of the pack. They're so dangerous up forward in this situation, Melbourne, aren't they? Swartz can do it when he's out there from a ruck contest. We know that Robertson can fly over the top, and if it hits the ground, Bruce, Farmer, Green, any of them can kick a goal. Simmons tries to join in on the act. Eagles with numbers in the square. Miranda and Rapunda combining. And on the way out, it's Gasper quickly shoveling the ball off, getting them moving. Tough one for Chambers. Phoebe just went under it a little bit far. Cousins, Glass, handball looking back. Good numbers for the Demons. Well done, Rigoni. Or Brown, too quick with the handball. Miranda couldn't find a path. Ward, quick with the kick. Maybe the shorter one would have been better, but it's into the space. It's into the dangerous area. Out came Green. And guess who's cleaned it up? Rapunda. His disposal not great this time again though. Gasper banged it on the boot. This is pressure. Cousins seemingly immune to the pressure. Munro, he's got Gardner out wide. He uses Wooden. He can go longer for Chad Fletcher. Thompson in pursuit. Cummings makes the lead. Decisive play this one. Neitz got the spoil. Maybe Melbourne can hurt them on the rebound. A fumble from McDonald. He's over the footy. They'll call for holding the ball. They won't get it. It'll be a bounce.
That was good play there by Cummings to trap that ball because Melbourne were off and running. And it's a part of his game that Ken Judge would have been saying that if you're not taking the mark, Scotty, you've got to get in the play, you've got to hold up, can't allow your players to run off you. And here you just see him just making conservative just to bring it back in.
What a battle, what a struggle between two sides that are really desperate for a win. Richard Taylor goes for Gardner, goes for Cummings, goes for home, and gets the boundary line.
Gee, it's exciting. Shane Woden's had to limp off. He's got a back injury at the moment. May not take any further part in the game.
So both sides down a star or two. Morrison injuring himself early in the match for the Eagles. Swartz off at the moment for the Demons, and Jakovic also for the Eagles. And it's their turn to attack. Gardner into the danger spot. Jeff White had to be cool. A bit of a fumble, a lot of a fumble from Phoebe, and that just let the Eagles in. Brown trying to recover it. Cousins, whose hands would you want it in? No one else's. Tapped away. Almost got another chance, Cousins. Well done by the Demons. Brown getting it away, and now they can run. Phoebe measured the kick one-on-one. Robertson, well done Williams. Robertson tried to lock it in. He did lock it in. Oh, Simmons was clumsy over the top. No free kick. Robertson desperate, but Taylor takes it away from the back. Sets it up. Here we go again. Needs to take the mark. Uncontested. Disappointing for the Eagles. Disappointing. Neitz can use Nicholson. It's one-on-one contest ahead of him here. He's under pressure, so he just bombs into the space. Wapunda surely will get there first. He's going to be swooped upon by Uze. Another excellent tackle from Adam Uze. But Taylor able to hold things up. Wooden using glass. There you go, wooden glass through the middle of the ground. Rapunda trying to spot up Scotty Cummings. Needs it's going to drop short anyway. Nicholson to take the mark. It's become a real struggle now, hasn't it?
Oh, look, the ball's gone back and forth 5 or 6 times from really not going inside the 50s. It's a bit of an arm wrestle at this stage.
It's pretty ugly footy at the moment, but it is exciting because there's so much riding on it. Every play can have an impact. Wooden, it's the Eagles' turn again. Fletcher, a high one, a good one. Cummings, good spoil from Nicholson that time. And he gets it safely over the line out of bounds.
The Eagles have got Jakovic and McIntosh on the bench. I think they may need one on the forward line.
Jeff Farmer's coming off.
Farmer off, yep.
Jakovic to come back on. Barry, you mentioned that.
Fair bench. They've got Farmer, Woden, Swartz.
Wheatley from behind. All the players at the front with the Eagles. Kerr, Chambers, Cousins. Good smother from Nathan Brown. He'll go again, Cousins. Well done. Melbourne wrapped him up. And the ball out of bounds.
When you consider the dominance that West Coast have had midfield today, I mean the Demons' defence, they really have held up pretty well. I mean West Coast have only kicked 11 goals. They've done a reasonable effort under a lot of pressure.
Certainly have. Wheatley, Bruce, blasting away. Oh, Robertson a fumble, and the Eagles have just dominated around this area in this quarter, setting it up. Now here's a big chance through centre half forward. He has time to steady. Richard Taylor can score from there. It's away to the left. It's swinging back. Oh, White, interesting enough, brought it back into play. Perhaps he could have conceded the behind. Doesn't matter, there's a free kick to Melbourne. So the last minute of the third quarter, it could be absolutely vital here. Melbourne deep in defence. Jeff White using up all his time. He's going to have to kick long. He's got nothing on. There's no movement for the Demons. Thompson leads in short, but it's going to be dangerous whatever he does.
Scotty Cummings giving him some advice.
So he goes long. Big pack of players. Oh, Robertson! He normally saves those for the forward line, where he can get all the adulation and go back and kick a goal.
He's come a long way up the ground to get his kicks, hasn't he?
It might still create a scoring opportunity, but maybe not for Melbourne, maybe for the Eagles. Oh, that was sloppy by Taylor. Gets a chance to redeem himself. Great work from Daniel Kerr. Out to Munro. Terrific smother. Great work by Daniel Ward. Goes on top of it. Might be pinged here. I can see the umpire is itching to do that. He was just itching to play that decision, and by the rules it was fair enough. Yeah. But boy, Daniel Ward did the hard thing, made the smother, and he paid the penalty in the end. It's three-quarter time, and Scotty Cummins concedes that he's too far out to score a goal. What a game. 4 points the difference at the moment.
Yeah, great quarter really by both sides, and you can see the West Coast Eagles fans, they haven't had a lot to smile or clap about much at all this year, and they are smelling the chance of their third victory for the year. Ben Cousins again has been sensational. He's had 32 possessions. He had 12 in that quarter. It's just so hard to stop.
Have a look at the Melbourne guys trying to get Farmer and Woden ready. Farmer's got a sore hamstring. Why Woden it back?
Well, what lies ahead for us in this last 30 minutes, one thing's for sure, it'll be frenetic. And we hope it'll be fantastic. 4 points the difference. The Eagles, with the win in the last term, lead by 4 at the last break.
Onto the ground, playing at centre forward for the Eagles. So we're all set up for a big final quarter.
With the rain coming, early goals crucial too.
Last quarter from Subiaco. Tactics will be fascinating from both coaches, as will the action. Simmons got the first touch on it. Cousins had 14 possessions in the third quarter. Amazing stuff. Starts as he finished. But it's Ward who played pretty well in that third quarter. Gets Melbourne deep into attack. Rapunda was the other star of the third term. Couldn't get on the end of this one. Was there a free kick off the ball? There was.
Yep.
And it's going West Coast way to Rapunda.
The one thing, though, about Melbourne is that, you know, they've probably had less possessions than the Eagles, but they're still very much in the game. And if they crank up a little bit, that's the dangerous thing. That's the positive thing for Neil Danaher.
Gasper pushing up onto the wing. Broadbridge on the ground for the first time today, just manning him up. So will the Eagles go along with the win? What will they do? Miranda takes a good mark. It's a fair gale behind him, and it's an open forward line for Cummings to lead into. Kerr doubles back. In the end, it's neat. Kerr backed himself to his own advantage. Can he finish off his good work? Surely he can. Make sure of it. Goal for Matera. What a start for the Eagles.
I tell you what, Scotty, you can put that goal down to Andrew Embley. He's worked off the ball then to give Daniel Kerr all the time in the world to weigh up the situation, whether to have a kick on goal or to allow to go over the top to Matera was fantastic. And smart play also by Miranda, because he saw that there was open forward line. Here you go. Look at the work of Embley. That is just fantastic stuff. And that's that 1% is the teamwork that the Eagles have done more of today than we've seen for the whole year.
Well, it's crisis time for the Demons. This is the Eagles' biggest lead of the day, out to a 10-point margin, and they're coming home with the breeze. The rain just about upon us. Good mark for Nicholson. Goes out wide for Thompson. He's got support there from Simmons. Hasn't got much up ahead. He has to go for the Robertson lead, but it was too much on the kick. Doubling back is Liam Shelley. And Wooden, and the ball over the line out of bounds.
Hutto, a couple of incredible benches down here. Cummings, McIntosh and Chambers for the Eagles. And over here at the Demons, Farmer's injured. Doesn't look like he's going to play again. Woden's injured and Swartz.
Well, it's a good crowd. They're getting their money's worth at the moment. White, Ward, was terrific stuff, all of that. Thompson just setting it up as a disciplined player should. It's gone right to the line. Rapunda! It might be. No, it wasn't a goal. It's a free kick to West Coast for hanging on against Brad Green.
Gone to Colica, is it?
Yep. Gee, it almost got through the lot, didn't it? Would have been a remarkable goal from there. Gasper, again, Broadridge a little bit off the pace. Couldn't get him in time.
He's providing some run, Gasper. He's run hard on the last two occasions, and he's really to present himself.
Playing on the wing, which is an unusual situation for him.
Miranda knocked it to the front. It's the loose ball situation. Kerr was outstanding, and he got them away. And there's a big chance here. Embley taking his time, making sure of it, cracking it up. The Eagles are on their way.
Talk about good players here today for West Coast. I mean, Ben Cousins certainly comes to mind, but Andrew Embley kicked his goals early on when the heat was on the game, and looks like he wants to put some icing on the cake now. He's played very well, but the handball from Kerr, and this one right here, that is absolute class.
Geez, when you can break free of a tackle like that, when you basically got all the Melbourne players going towards the ball, which then the Eagles players had backed off, and it was just such an easy release.
Jeff Farmer's back on for Melbourne. Has to be panic stations for the Demons. Just under 3 goals down. One thing in Melbourne's favour, it's been a long time between drinks for the Eagles. At the moment, though, they look just about home. A long time to go yet, but they're playing so well, so spirited. Carroll, ball up.
Had a big decision by Neil Danaher to send Jeff Farmer on, because he's got a dodgy hammy. It's a bit tight, but he's a match. You know, he's got to win the match. So
I guess it's all or nothing for him, isn't it, as far as the season's concerned? Chance for Wooden to try and steady the ship in defence for the Eagles. And they've run so well from this situation. He goes for finds touch for the boundary line.
Good kick.
Yeah, not a bad option.
Didn't have any other options for it, and there's no two worries about that. It's Jeff White. He's trying to come off. He's not really quite sure what he's doing.
They're in disarray down here. He's tried to come off while Woden wasn't ready. Now he's gone back on Jeff White.
So the ball back into play. Good hands, and they're away again. Fletcher off the wrong boot. Well handled by Wheatley, but he's under pressure. Miranda over the top of him. The umpire lets it ride for the moment. And now a bounce.
Jeff White on the bench.
Barrett, just on that, to me, they appear to have never been settled today, Melbourne. I mean, I don't know if there's been a lot of changes, but they've never really got the matchups that they've wanted. It's been a pretty good coaching display by Judge today.
Look pretty rattled, the Demons, at the moment.
Well, he's making the move, Neil Dano. He's sending Neats forward. He knows that he needs to kick goals. He needs a spark. And we've been waiting for the move basically all day.
That's a blood rule there.
So West Coast, with the first 2 goals of this last quarter, have put themselves in a winning position. Can they go on with it? Leoncelli, a long one, and it's out of bounds. They just somehow need to create a goal, don't they, Melbourne, to put a bit of scoreboard pressure back on the Eagles.
They certainly look to have lost a bit of spark at the moment. You're just wondering who's going to lift this side. They haven't had many winners out there at all today. They've hung in there, but gee, there hasn't been many clear winners.
Going to ground, Cousins. Free kick. And it goes to Ben Cousins. What a game from the captain. 35 possessions. And he finds Colliker. His teammates tell him to keep on moving, but he waits until he had an option loose. And another man who's played a big role in Daniel Kerr as the game's gone on.
He's got Wooden out to his left, but he's going to go long.
20 possessions for Kerr. It's a long one. Almost the mark. Brown made the spoil. Gardner was the man.
It was a good spoil too by Brown, because he's given away a hell of a lot of height there to Michael Gardner. And we've seen Gardner take some pretty strong marks today, so well done there by Brown.
Well, the rain certainly coming down now. Going to make Melbourne's job all the more difficult. They've got their stars back on by Woden and Farmer. One last-ditched effort. They need to get the next goal. Matera with other ideas. Well dispossessed. Phoebe with that desperate lunge. Now time for McDonald. He hasn't got much to go to. Went for a one-on-one, but the wind's going to take that and send it close to the line. Robertson did a pretty good job in the end to make the contest.
Scott, I'm just wondering whether you bring... I know that Jeff Farmer might have a bit of an injury, but whether he's worth bringing up onto the ball, because he was damaging in the early part of the game.
Don't forget you can check all the details of today's game on i7sport.com.au and talk to Chris Mainwaring in the chat room tonight. Be a big night in Perth with the Eagles winning, and Maney in the chat room. Doesn't get much bigger. I'm only joking. Good work. Here's Matera streaming through. Open goal. The Eagles headed for their first win in 79 days.
Well, they've had some avenues up forward, and he's been down on form this year, Philip Matera. There's no two worries about that. But today we've actually seen, with the side playing well, we've seen a lot of players come to the fore. Embley's got 4 goals. That's Philip Matera's 4th goal himself. And they are really just sinking the nails into the coffin now, the West Coast Eagles. She said, Hunter, it's been a long time between drinks, and they're just going to lap this all up as much as possible.
Well, the Eagles, with the crowd behind them, a stirring performance in this last term to start the first 7 or 8 minutes with. It could be enough to win. Uze under pressure. The Demons need to get the next goal, the next 3 or 4 in fact. Certainly the next 2 to just give themselves a chance. Now Neats is on over the top here for Brown. Be a tough kick from Neats. He doesn't panic. Robertson calls for it, 30 out from goal. He waits. Sets it up. Robertson is the man. He's gone one-on-one. He's in front. Rigoni just couldn't get ball to boot. Bruce fighting for it. But the Eagles prevailing for the moment at least. And now they'll get away. Cousins off the left. a wobbly one, but it was a good one. And the mark's paid. And Callum Chambers is very lucky.
Very lucky. I think the umpire thought he was going to wrap that up and blew the whistle before he'd taken the mark.
Good play by Kerr again, just in close back there to win it and give it off to someone in the congestion.
Cousins possession number 37, Jim Miranda. Attack the footy. They're all attacking it now. Taylor's long. Matera again. This time he couldn't take it. Oh, what a tackle! Magnificent tackle. And it might lead to a goal anyway. And fittingly, it's Philip Matera that kicks it. It's all over. The fat lady is singing.
Sensational. Sensational Philip Matera. He's renowned for his second efforts. A bit like his brother, who's probably more renowned for his second and third efforts, but that was just brilliant, Scotty Waters.
Take a bow, Philip Matera. Take a bow. That is magnificent. Look at that. One hand drags him to the ground, gets up quickly, stays in the contest, and look, he deserved to kick that goal. Well done.
Home and hose, you would have to say. It would take a miracle, I think, for the Demons to win from here.
Great quarter from the West Coast Eagles. Fantastic stuff. And the crowd in full voice. And the players suddenly free of the shackles of the last 2 months are enjoying it. Wooden gets them going. Miranda really attacking the ball. Wooden. Suddenly the skills return. The confidence. Chambers might kick this. No, he centres it. Brilliantly done. And the easiest mark in the world in front of the goals for Richard Taylor. And Melbourne are a shambles at the moment, but we must give the credit to the Eagles.
Where has this form been? That's what you've got to ask. I mean, they've just come out today and they've played with passion. They obviously gave themselves a huge chance.
They started off today, Manny, I reckon, just doing the little things, and then the confidence grew. Another good shepherd by Embley off the ball. How many times have we seen him do that today? And Richard Taylor, well, he's going to cap a good afternoon off.
By hitting the post.
Oh, no! Well, I fixed him up nicely.
Yep. So, there is still time, of course, for Melbourne to win this game. They just can't get the ball to the forward line, certainly past the 50.
Well, they're playing a spare man in defence too, which if you're going to try and win a game, you're not going to win it by that way. I mean, that's really a defensive mode. And it means the Eagles have got a spare one in defence, so it makes them pretty hard when they go forward.
Certainly once the scoreline's like it is now. Rigoni providing the run from the wing on the overlap. Lee and Shelley. Rigoni had to kick it quickly. They need a mark. They need someone to stand up. Need certainly provided the contest. Robertson's got all the time to steady, but his kick's no good. Farmer was on a lead, and he went for goal instead. It's not a great kick. Broadbridge, good spoil. Safely over the line and out of bounds.
Well done, Williams. He didn't shoot the issue.
Yeah, he was pretty open on that one. Kept his eye on the ball. Good courage.
I don't think he was too aware that Broadbridge was coming. Gasper did the wrestling, so they got the extra man, Farmer, or the handball had to be given. Thompson, just going to say, might fancy himself from there.
Williams is coming off. He's definitely concussed.
Gasper falling into the mark.
I reckon he might have trouble with his ribs too, Barrett. He copped it right. He wasn't protected at all.
Well, Richard Osmond's worked a miracle, and his mate Maney for the Eagles during the week.
Yeah, we can. I'm sure he'll have to take a bit of the credit with his morphing.
Broadbridge setting up. McDonald, long kick. No direction at all. I think it hit the behind post on the full.
We've seen on those last 2 forays into attack, basically the Melbourne players, the team ethic has fallen apart. They had options to actually kick the short one. Both players were just blazing away at the goals. Beautifully
weighted kick for Richard Taylor to mark. And the Eagles have been in no hurry now.
We spoke about it earlier on before, and it's just amazing too. The skill level of the Eagles today has been so much better than we've seen in the past. It's amazing once you get your confidence up, how well you can deliver the ball.
The Eagles have played well, but fair to say the Demons are a shadow of the team they were last year.
I definitely agree with that, Barrett. None of their really good players have stepped up today.
On to the wing, Neats, the captain, trying to inspire them, at least in a small way, by taking that mark. He's got a loose man in Brown at centre half forward. Makes him work for it. In fact, he went longer for Lee and Shelley. Now Brown gets into the action. Sets it up. Oh, again, it was hit and hope stuff, wasn't it? And all the numbers with the West Coast. So their avenue to goal has completely fallen down, Melbourne. Rapunda goes very wide. Rigoni, excellent job. Going to get a free kick. He's got Farmer on his own in the square. He went shorter for Lee and Shalley. Did give Farmer a chance. Couldn't get on the end of it. Rapunda, what a day he's had. And uses the boundary line.
And some of that credit's got to go to a person like Rowan Jones. He's only at the 2 possessions for the day, but he's played on Uze. He would have been told by Ken Judge, just go out there and stop him from getting possessions. I don't care how many you get. Uze's only had 8 possessions, and he's the type of play, Scotty, that they have missed, along with the likes of Woden and these types of players who just haven't got their hands on the ball.
It's a great tap from White, but, well, West Coast had the more committed bodies there, didn't they, when the ball hit the ground?
It's been a much more even performance from West Coast today. They've certainly, Cousins has been outstanding. There's been a couple who have been very good, but they've got service from almost every player on the ground.
Yeah, just the 37 possessions for Cousins. Farmer, he just couldn't pull it back enough.
Is that down on his average this year, Hutto? Or?
It's pretty average, isn't it?
Just brings his own footy every week.
This is Cousins? Yeah, 26 he's been averaging.
So 15-4 to 10-6. Rapunda. Munro. They just want to not be too negative, do they, the Eagles, at this stage? There's still 10 minutes to go, and if Melbourne could just sneak a couple through.
Well, the problem being, though, is that when Melbourne have gone forward, they just haven't got the score on the board. They've had it inside their 57 times. They've only scored the point. The Eagles 6 times for 4 goals won, so they've been very, very productive in this quarter, the Eagles, when they've gone inside their 50.
Good work out of the pack, so Melbourne, that's
backed himself.
Terrific work. Wooden taking it through centre half back, looking for Jakovic. Neats, bit of a stumble. Again, good control. Chambers sets it up. And that's an excellent mark taken by Ward. He's running with Cousins and has been for a while. Ward with 15 possessions. Goes for Broadbridge. Tough mark here with the spoil coming from Gasper, but the numbers at the ground level, all Melbourne's. James McDonald just lost control of the footy in the end. Kerr gang tackled.
That could be it. Farmer's limped off the ground.
Hutto, just talking about Ward with 15 possessions. There's only been 4 Melbourne players to have 15 possessions or above today. You cannot win a game of footy if you're not having everyone contribute, and they just haven't had enough players get hold of the football.
Yeah, they really are a shadow, aren't they, of the grand final competing side last year. White doing the ruck work. Lee and Shalley barging through. Well done, Phoebe. Giving them some run and some sprint out of defence. Bruce one-on-one with Glass. Will he get a favourable bounce? Glass determined. Went for the boundary line. Bruce, not much he could do there, really. Well done, Darren Glass. And always a bit of a telltale sign when you see teammates starting to argue with each other, as a couple of Melbourne players did on that occasion. Robertson waiting down. He's got the chance here, Robertson. Centering kick. Brown. Not a bad handball. Uze trying to create some magic. Bruce just couldn't get enough onto it, could he? And the behind conceded. They're just about out of time, aren't they, Melbourne now? They need a goal in the next 2 minutes. And then they need a rush of them after that, but they just need to get the first one.
He's another player who's been good today. Wooden, he's had 20 possessions down there in the back line. He's stopped a lot of Melbourne's attacks. This player's been around the club for a while and just probably hasn't lived up a little bit to his form when he first moved over here as Wooden. Is that out until the full?
No. Needs to be disappointed with himself there. He probably had just another couple of centimetres than he knew close to the line. And he didn't have anyone around him. 15-4 to 10-7 is the score. So the West Coast Eagles heading for their first victory since round 4 when they beat Fremantle. At that stage they were 2-2.
Yeah, the whiz, tight hamstrings, had to come off. Couldn't finish the game.
Injury worry for the Eagles earlier. Chad Morrison off with what appears to be a serious knee injury. Chambers dispossessed. And the ball over the line out of bounds. In the back? No, it's a throw. So they've successfully taken the sting out of the game now, the Eagles. And you wouldn't think the Demons could do it from here. White helping it on. McDonald, Phoebe, Gardner, White. Uzo might get a free.
Yep.
And he's just about within range. He's a big kick of the footy. He's into the breeze though, so that might make it impossible. Lots of Eagles numbers back there. He still sets it up in the square. Looking for a miracle. He might get one from Robertson. Good goal. Well worked, and they finally got one through.
Well, they've had to work hard in this second half to get goals. It's only their third goal. And only their first in this quarter, but you know, the Eagles have kicked 6 goals in the second half, so they've just been that little bit more productive. It's probably just too late. I mean, there's just over 6.5 minutes left. You'd probably think that would be out of their reach based on how well the Eagles have been playing.
Robertson's battled hard.
Yep.
I mean, he's kicked a couple of goals and he's at least given them something. I think he's been one player to hold his head up high here today.
Maybe one last hurrah here for the Demons. They need another one. And they need it quickly. White, Taylor, Wooden. The Eagles sending it as deep as they can into attack. Brown might get a free kick for a high tackle. Advantage could be paid here. It will be. The lead is on from Bruce. And gee, handled that well in the wet. Rigoni is a thumping kick. Sets it high. The lead from Green. Oh, he spoiled Neats in the end, probably. Robertson gave them the last goal. Won't give them this one. Ward sets it up to the top of the square. Doubling back. Was that in the back? No, it wasn't. Thompson edged out of the contest by Wapunda. He's been one of the stars today. And there's a big talk. It's a monster talk. And Jakovic is off and running. And now the Eagles can go through Kerr. And they seem to have this in their control. Cousins through the middle. Back for Taylor. Out wide. Jakovic has kept on running. And he's going to go back and have a kick from there. Run the clock down some more. 21 points is the margin. He sets it up looking for Embley. Broadbridge. Back. Well done, Broadbridge. He's through it. Well, it's a tight call. He certainly seemed to get some fist onto it, but maybe he threw it up first. I guess the replay will tell us the story. Let's have a look. Scoop is what he said.
No, correct call by the umpire, but when things aren't going well, they just continue to compound.
It's Melbourne bench, and doesn't seem to be too much action going up there.
And the rain has cleared away, and you won't believe it, there's a rainbow over Subiaco Oval.
Some photographer will get a nice shot of that for tomorrow's paper.
Certainly found the pot of gold today, West Coast, but I tell you what, this kick here for the 5th goal for Embley could be another one from outside 50.
It's a great effort, isn't it? 5 for Phil Matera. And Embley has to settle with 4 for the moment at least. 11-7 plays 15-5. 5 minutes of playing time remaining, so technically I guess Melbourne could kick 4 goals. Broadbridge looks like he might be the target on the kick out. Now he goes longer than that. Good kick for Simmons. Should take the mark over Richard Taylor. Went a bit early, Simmons. No free kick or no mark. He's got Brown leading down the ground. Went for Robertson and Neats. And Neats can take this. He's got Robertson breaking. If he can kick to him well here, which he does do, and he gets there, Robertson takes the mark. He can't afford to waste any time. Needs to go back and make sure he kicks the goal.
He's tried hard, hasn't he? I've been impressed with his game today. He really has stood up and just tried to keep presenting himself, look for opportunities. Not easy when your side's down and your midfield's down to do that, but full credit to him.
So Robertson certainly not rushing it. Well, he got up and under it, and he's pushed it across. He's missed. Disappointing result from Russell Robertson.
The other thing, since Neitz has gone to up to the forward line, he's been an avenue for them to be able to go through, and he took a nice strong mark there, and you wonder whether that move came a little bit too late.
50-metre penalty paid from the kick in.
It's lack of discipline, isn't it?
Robertson and Munro. Bit of frustration creeping into the game now.
McIntosh. Neitz easing a squeeze for the Demons. Goes for Simmons. Wants to keep it moving, the Demons, at all cost. Gergic to half forward. 3-on-1. Uze tries to beat the lot. He crunched one of them, but he couldn't stop McIntosh. Or Jakovic. Kick to kick at the moment. Neitz, good spoil though. Kerr found a way. Fletcher was terrific early. That handball not so good. Liam Shalley measured the kick pretty well in the end for Thompson, who wants to move. Now he can, but he's got nowhere to go. Big Schwartz has spent a long time on the bench. He's back on the ground now for the Demons. He kicks to the lead of Green, and he takes the mark. And once again, he needs to go back and just kick the ball straight away. Three minutes 20 on the clock, and now counting down. They need 4 goals. This will have to be the first. It's going to be under 3 minutes by the time he kicks. He's done enough. He's kicked it. He's put it through. It's his second.
Well, it still gives them a bit of a glimmer of hope that they can produce the 3 goals required in the last 2.5 minutes of play or so. They've kept coming. I mean, for the fact that I think the West Coast Eagles really have controlled the majority of the game for most of the day, and Melbourne have just been thereabouts most of the day. They just haven't had enough. They just haven't had enough of the ball going into their forward line, and when they have, they've been productive.
So maybe just a few nerves here for West Coast. Under 3 minutes remaining. Melbourne need 3 goals to win. You wouldn't think they could do it, but who knows? Liancelli was held up then. Umpire let it go. Important kick out of the middle, that was for Miranda. Broadbridge controlled the footy, and his kick was excellent. Liancelli got numbers to the left, just pumps it long. David Neitz, the captain. Oh, he did everything but take the mark. Oh, that was it there. It's a free kick, though. It's a free kick, so the clock stops. The clock stops with the free kick. Important that.
It's just getting interesting, isn't it? Neitz had the strength, pushed him out. Really should have swallowed that one, but, well, they've got the free kick. They kick this. All of a sudden, the game just becomes a little interesting.
He looks hurt too, Green. It was a soft-looking free kick from what we could see. It may well have been there. We didn't get the best angle in the world just to tell whether, I think it was high contact, was it, the free kick was for?
It looked like it, but
Green looks a bit ruffled by it all. He looks in a bit of pain. Maybe he caught one to the head. That would explain, perhaps.
He ran straight into Dave. Well, Wirrapunda ran straight into him, I should say.
There's apparent grogginess. Big kick, this one for Brad Green to keep the Demons in it. It's close. It's there. They're still alive.
Well, as I said, they've just kept coming all day at the Eagles, and the Eagles have, they have taken the foot off the pedal a little bit. I think they thought they were home and hosed, but credit to Melbourne, because they're not going to accept this, and they're just starting to win the ball a little bit through the midfield. And Neitz, as I said, he's gone forward. He's been an option.
Gee, it makes that shot on goal by Robertson look very interesting at the moment, doesn't it?
Well, the fat lady, she sung earlier on. She might have to retract it. What a finish from Subiaco. Melbourne are barnstorming home. Liancelli, he tried for that extra effort. A long one for Robertson. He's got it. He's got it, and he's within range. He's just within range. He can't take too long because time all important, but this time the kick is even more important. because there's still almost 2 minutes remaining. It's away to the left. It's not going to come back enough. It's a behind.
Oof.
And with it, perhaps goes Melbourne's chances. Oh, the Eagles can't afford to make a mistake here. If they can just retain possession for 30 seconds, it will be enough. Melbourne need to go man on man. Clock winds down. Rowan Jones is loose.
He's got to go long. There's time and inches now.
He's now off. He's now over his mark. It's now play on. He goes for the boundary line. It's close to being on the full. Simmons touched it. Wanted the mark, but it's out of bounds. The clock stops. So Melbourne get one more chance to set up a chance at getting a goal. It would be heroic from here, that's for sure. But they've done it once this year. Ward's kick, well trapped by Rapunda. He's done a magnificent job. That might be just about enough. It's close to the line, it's on the full. So Melbourne need to race it down and get a goal. It's Ward's kick.
Suddenly that rainbow's gone, Hutto.
It has, it's disappeared. It might return in a minute though. Ward going long as he had to do. They need a mark. Robertson went for the specky. A loose ball. Adamuzo. Rigoni. Quick kick from Rigoni. He's missed. Was it in the back? No, it wasn't. He wanted a free for in the back. Guy Rigoni. Let's have a look at it. Was it a genuine in the back or not? Well, gee, it looked like it, didn't it? I think their chances are just about gone now. I think I should stop saying that. I've said it a few times. 15-5 to 13-10. The Eagles hanging on for dear life here. 79 days is a long time.
Interesting. Nobody on the mark for the Demons.
It's a good tactic.
Yep.
He's now off. He has to go long. Again, Melbourne need a mark, and that time Neats couldn't provide.
Well, 22 seconds. You
can't see them getting 2 goals from there.
No.
Well, they've had to fight all the way in the end, the Eagles, after they seemed to be cruising at one stage. Neats, a handball back from Wheatley. Phoebe. The crowd can sense it now. Free kick to the Eagles. Time on blown. Well, Melbourne have scrapped here. They've fought back. They've given themselves a chance of victory. But it's the West Coast Eagles that have prevailed. How's that feel, boys? For the first time since April 21, the West Coast Eagles have taken 4 points. It's their 3rd win for the year. And it's a stirring victory, which they almost saw disappear in a very tense last 10 minutes. Philip Matera kicked 5 goals. He was one of the stars. Andrew Embley booted 4. Benny Cousins 38 possessions. Scotty Cummins kicked 2. Played his part early. And the Eagles get home by 7. Despair for the Demons. They're odds-on favourite today. But really, they were pretty ordinary until that last little bit. Crowd of 30,000 people. Let's go down to Barra, who's in amongst it.
Benno, here we go, we're live. How do you feel, mate?
Oh, mate, fantastic. It's been a pretty tough couple of months.
What does it mean? You're obviously a bit emotional. What does it mean to you?
Oh, mate, it's just been it has been a tough couple of months, and we're a young side, and we're going to get better with the more footy we play, and maybe this is just a sign of us to get some salvage out of the season, and win goes a long way. Great, Barra.
What about yourself, Benno? Last 2 weeks you've gone to a new level. You are the skipper. You've personified it today.
Oh, mate, I've enjoyed the extra responsibility. I think we've got a good bunch of guys, and we'll keep getting better. It's not going to happen overnight, but we're going to get there.
Good on you, Benno. Congratulations, mate. Hello.
Thanks, Barra. Ben Cousins, 19 kicks, 19 handballs, a captain's game in anyone's terms. The Eagles prevail.
Remember what it's like to win a game, and the point is, though, they can't just win this one and then just let it all fall away. They've got to continue to play with the spirit and the effort that they put in today, and they can be competitive.